Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Ink card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Ink Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect that of the staff and management of Good Karma Brands, but are the sole responsibility of the host and guests of this particular show.
America may have many, many days, but they will be full of trouble. There will be no rest. There will be no tranquility in this country until the nation comes to terms with our problems.
Bringing you social and political commentary from his mouth to your ears, breaking down the issues which matter to you.
You are not put here to be a white man's footstool. You are put here to represent the very best in God's word.
Legendary civil rights icon, the Reverend Jesse Jackson in the studio. Reverend Jackson, how are you?
Mr. Sherwin, good morning on this chilly Milwaukee morning.
And I am pleased to have one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party, Chairman Bobby Seale. Mr. Chairman, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing just fine. Thank you.
To Mr. Eric Holder. Mr. Holder, so good to see you. How are you?
Well, I'm fine, man. How you been? It's been a long time. Haven't seen you for a while.
The Dr. Cornell West. Dr. West, how are you, sir?
My dear brother, you're so kind, you're so generous, so man, but I salute you and the work that you were doing there. Doing a magnificent job there in Wisconsin.
Stream live on 1017thetruth.com. Call in with your questions or comments. 833-212-1017. Join us on social media at 1017 The Truth. It may not be what you expect to hear, but I will definitely give you what you need to know. Are you ready for the truth?
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is Sherwin Hughes.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Thursday, November 21st, 2024. Spent a great deal of time on yesterday's program going over the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction report card scores for the Milwaukee Public School District. It's such a broad topic, education and the education and miseducation and undereducation of black children, that more time needs to be dedicated to it, because I don't think that it is an issue that is of paramount concern to our community like it should be, because in those numbers of the poor performance, the low test scores, the low graduation rates, the high level of absenteeism amongst black students, those numbers paint a picture in full, vivid color of the future of the black community in this city, at least for those that remain in this city. I try to give as many relevant examples as I could to get us to think out of the box about these numbers and what they can mean for the future for all of us. I even broadened it out to give some examples of how it can impact the entire state of Wisconsin. If the economic activity of the entire state is centered in and around the city of Milwaukee, I'm not even including the metro area, because even the metro area feeds off of the city. The city offers things and activities and recreation and amenities and taxable assets that the suburbs don't offer. That's why there's been a building boom downtown. All the apartments, all the condos that are going up, there's something to that. Why not maximize our potential here in this city? I can remember some of the complaints going back many, many years about the hop. Some of you affectionately called it the trolley. It was stupid. It was a bad idea. It was a waste of money. Most of those conversations came from people that lived outside of the city for a number of reasons, because they've always been opposed to rail, because they think that rail will eventually reach them, or people that live in the city will have this one-way trek out to the suburbs, right? And if you have a way to connect people where you don't need a car, because you can police cars, you can police driving, but a train you can't really police. I think there's this maybe a racial fear, but some of the same xenophobia that causes people to get upset when you hear about illegal migrants. Some of that same xenophobia existed here. That's why they were against the hop, or the trolley as they called it, because they believed that black people would get on that train, go out to the suburbs, and just stay and just plant a flag in the suburbs, therefore ruining their lily white picturesque landscapes. We have no interest in moving away from where all of the action, all of the activity, all of the opportunity is, and the opportunity, action, and activity is in the city. So fear not, suburbanites. And plus, y'all come here way more than we want to go out there. Now, if there is a reason, I'm going to get into that reason, for African Americans to want to venture outside of the city of Milwaukee, it's not necessarily to have a big yard. Maybe it's that. Not necessarily to have peace and quiet, which there's not as much peace and quiet in the suburbs as one might think. But it could be because the education outputs are better. And I got some details on that, because I'm very disturbed by the report card. More disturbed than I thought I would be, because there's not an urgency. We can be urgent when it comes to things that we deem as important. The most recent election, that was important, very urgent. I tried to show a level of urgency. A lot of you showed a level of urgency. A bunch of people knocking on doors. You got a bunch of flyers in the mail. You saw a bunch of TV commercials. Eric Hovde was here every 15 minutes. So there was a lot of urgency. We need that same level of urgency, because now I know that we can do it. And I also know that we can come together for a purpose and a reason that we deem urgent. I don't want to sound like everybody else when it comes to how dismayed I am when it comes to education. I need to engender more urgency, first in myself, but then also in members of our community that are going to be impacted by these numbers. And so there's an article in the Journal Sentinel. Why I read the Journal Sentinel articles, I don't know. But I think it's a good segue into what I'm going to do my darndest to try and explain today. And it's going to be a complicated subject matter to decipher, because I got to be careful in talking about what I want to talk about and describing it and discussing it, because it's going to offend a lot of people. But the point and purpose is not to offend. You have to get over whatever it is that offends you and look at the crux of the argument that I am trying to make. Black people and black children have a very difficult time, a very uphill battle. And let me be clear, life itself is difficult and uphill for anybody. Everybody has challenges. Some challenges are external, some challenges are internal, some people have both. But for black people in the state of Wisconsin, specifically in the city of Milwaukee, where they likely have attended a Milwaukee public school, the challenges are both internal and external. And it is extremely difficult for black people to see success based on their full potential here. It is. And that's a die that has been cast. Now, we can break the die. We can break the mold. But it's extremely, extremely difficult, because there is no real incentive for white people to create and cultivate and mine black talent. They're not incentivized to do that. They're not. And so if there is no incentive to find, to root out, to seek, to collaborate with black talent, then that makes our climb all the more uphill. Now, we as black people, we do those things. And when we find black talent, we tell it to leave and go somewhere else because its full potential won't be realized here. Or, and I don't want to use this term because this might offend people early, we use black talent to try and help other black people, and that it gets wasted. And I hate to say that, but if you have got unlimited potential, I don't want you here starting another nonprofit with another food drive and a clothing drive, making people feel comfortable in poverty that was created specifically for black people in this community. I think that's a waste of your talent. You may disagree. I want you to disagree with me, but that's just my personal opinion. And those of you that know me know I have a lot of personal opinions. But there's no real incentive. There's no award given to white people when they find and cultivate black talent. If anything, black talent, I mean like stellar talent, I mean like Mensa level genius and creativity and science, technology, engineering, and math, the kind of black talent that they make movies about. I think it exists everywhere, but we are not given the fertile ground and the fertile soil to grow such talent, and we don't get a lot of help from our Caucasian adversaries. There's something that I've noticed in my years, and I have fewer sunrises ahead of me in my life. So I'm starting to become that old guy who doesn't really care how he offends people. I like it. It feels good. When you just get older and you just stop giving up, you stop caring what other people say, and you just feel free. You can say whatever you want. And now that I know that I have fewer sunrises, the majority of my sunrises are behind me, you see. So I have to be urgent with my time. There's that word urgency again. White mediocrity is allowed to persist when it stifles black talent, because white people have an inferiority complex, whether they admit it or not, and a lot of it is subconscious. That's why they shun immigration, even though they love their immigrant stories. They know that another person, another group is going to come over here and be more talented than them, take the jobs from them, do something better, be more creative, be more successful, and they have to worry about that. And again, I don't want to offend anybody. I want to be practical, and I don't want people's feelings to get involved, because once your feelings get involved, people nowadays confuse their feelings for facts. Stop doing that. Your feelings aren't facts. Got to get through some of this stuff. Got to be able to figure these things out. The majority of my, I'm going to say, adult life and professional career, I have been surrounded by white mediocrity. They're average. Few are stellar. Few are awe-inspiring. They're just average. But because the average, they're the job creators, they're the business owners, they're the leaders, they're the appointees, they're the cabinet secretaries. They're just mediocre, because you don't really have to be all that good if you were in the dominant position in a society. You don't have to be good. Now, there's a few of them absolutely that are good, and they have incentive for finding and cultivating white talent. Like white talent, that is the CEO. White talent joins the private membership clubs. You know what I mean? White talent gets you. White talent, well, this is not necessarily the best example, but white talent runs for president. White talent runs for Congress. That's what they do with white talent. Black talent oftentimes wastes too much of its energy just trying to help other black people, which is good, but that's not the best use of your talent. Because think about this. The most talented white people, whoever they are, pick one. There's several. How much time do they spend helping other white folks, especially white people that are on a lower tier than them? They don't. They don't. And I think that's a misconception that we have. We think that they all work together. No, they don't. They pass each other by whenever they can. They compete with one another. They want to beat one another. They want to be at the top. Black folks, we want to bring everybody along with us. You can't do that. Unless you're black and you're talented and you get to the top, then you get to pick and choose who you bring with you. One of the reasons why whiteness persists the way it is, and I got to talk about this because I'm going to talk about it in the context of black children are not going to perform well in MPS. Listen to me. Listen. Ever. You understand? It'll never happen. You will never have a 100% graduation rate. You will never have black children performing advanced on standardized. Listen to me. It'll never, ever, ever happen at MPS. Never. And I could say, well, let's destroy the whole system and rebuild it. So here's a little case study for you. We're about to destroy the United States, our republic, the republic that we thought we knew, and quote unquote rebuild it. But when you destroy something and rebuild it, it's usually somebody like Trump that does the rebuilding, and it'll put you in a worse situation. We got to be clear about this. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. All of you hardworking teachers that you love your students and you're dedicated to MPS. Some of you are just there for a pension. The fact that the standards are so low and they've even lowered them, and they're saying, well, look, there was 0.2% of growth in the lowest performing students. We're making progress. No, you're not. Student achievement is like inflation and prices. If student achievement is not going up by double-digit percentages every single year, then we are technically going backwards. We cannot have another generation of African Americans here or anywhere else that are undereducated in a system that was never designed for us to be successful. So I'm going to unravel some things. I also want to do something unique today in a show that we are titling the Pumpkin Pie Chronicles. Because whiteness is oftentimes associated with color blindness and just regular, just average, it's just normal. Like white Americans don't necessarily hang on to the European heritage because they're disconnected from it. Most white people that have descendants from Germany, they don't speak no damn German. White folks that are descended from the Polish, they don't speak no Polish, even though the Polish make a fine sausage. The whites that are Italian only become Italian when it's convenient, when it's cute, when it's some kind of a talking point. But they are detached from that because once white people become Americans, you can just become a regular old person. And then what they do is they other everybody else. And what they fear is that they one day will become the others. Because then their mediocrity that they have celebrated and promoted now has a mirror shined on it, has a bright light shined on it. So I'm going to take a break, come back. Oh, I say we've triggered somebody already. Alan, if you triggered already, this show was going to really sting. It's going to sting, Alan, because we got to get through this stuff because we are missing the mark. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. If you haven't done so already, go to youtube.com or open up your YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device. Search 101.7 The Truth, hit subscribe, and you'll be a part of the Cool Kids Club. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tune in to the award-winning 1017 The Truth's Business Spotlight this Thursday at 3:57 p.m. between The Tori Lowe Show and Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris. Me, your girl Noni Juice, will be joined by Tamara Castle, CRA Mortgage Loan Officer at Associated Bank. Tamara and I will discuss their first-time homebuyer's guide and how Associated Bank can help you get started on your home buying journey. So again, tune into the Business Spotlight with Associated Bank this Thursday at 3:57 p.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
This is your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
Reproductive justice is a framework, it's a movement, it's a vision for reproductive freedom, it's a right to have a child, it's a right to not have children, and this next part is really as important as the other parts. It's the right to birth and parent our children with dignity, and the right to live and parent our children in safe and healthy environments. So reproductive justice understands the ability of any person to control their destiny is directly related to the conditions of their communities. It looks at the intersections of discrimination in social, political, and economic systems, and it sheds light on the barriers that these systems produce. And then we, reproductive justice advocates, fight against the barriers that prevent Black people and other people of color from exercising their rights. That's reproductive justice.
This has been your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin. Are you or anyone you know looking to open a small business or learn the industry? Attend the City of Milwaukee 9th District Business Conference November 21st from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ross Innovative Employment Solutions. Brought to you by Milwaukee 9th District Alderwoman Larissa Taylor, helping you take your next steps towards financial empowerment. Sponsored by Alderwoman Larissa Taylor of the 9th District of the City of Milwaukee. City of Milwaukee, Granville, BID, Ross Innovative Employment Solutions.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I found schools and school districts in cities and in states where black children, especially the most vulnerable black boys, do stellar academically. In fact, in a couple of those schools and or school districts, black children outperform their white counterparts. And we know that exists. We know it exists in small pockets, and it's very particular how it exists. And maybe because I'm not an education insider, I'm not a part of the bureaucracy, I'm not a part of the union, I don't sit in on teacher staff meetings and school staff meetings and whatever the hell they do on those banking days, I'm not involved in that. But as educators, to an effect, they are somewhat scientists, because educating human beings is, in fact, a science, a very specific and coveted science. And scientists look for evidence of other things, of positive and or negative outcomes. So there's no way that you can be somewhere inside of the system of MPS and not see, not read about, not study, and not recognize where black children are exceeding, are excelling, and not want to include that in your curriculum. It's almost like they know it exists, but then when you try and have a conversation about it or talk about it or try and adopt some of those philosophies, they go, la, 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 I don't want to hear that. No. We're going to fix this system. No, you're not. And we as black folks have to be the first people to wake up from that dream. It's an illusion to think that the system of Milwaukee public schools, how it works right now, is ever going to be successful for black children. It is not. Now, I'm not saying that we scrap it, but first we have to get out of our denial that, it's going to get better. No, it's not. Because what these new standards and the new terminology basically says, hey, black people, this it meets expectations for you. Because we, who created the expectations, have low expectations for you. So it meets your expectations. It does not meet ours. Now, there probably will be state legislation sponsored by Republicans that might want to break MPS up into smaller districts. At this point, I'm not opposed. Let's try it out. Break the schools up into smaller districts where we can have a much more specific and racially and culturally relevant curriculum, because that's what you need in a lot of cases for black children to be successful. But also think of the dangers of that. Think if black college enrollment goes up. Think if we begin to excel academically and begin to not just get jobs. Here's the thing. We will create them, and they got to fear that, because what they don't want is mediocre, undereducated white people. Because, white folks are telling each other not to go to college. And that's mostly a Republican thing, because when people don't go to college, they're much more likely to vote for Republicans. Go figure. But what they can't do is have this narrative where they're telling people not to go to college, and then black people and black children are excelling academically, and then we become the job creators, and then we have to hire undereducated, mediocre white people, and then we pay them minimum wage. And then we buy properties in their community, and we buy the McDonald's franchises and the Subway franchises, and they work for us, and we own their property, so they're paying us rent. Oh, that's a nightmare scenario, even though I think that we would be much more fair if we owned white communities. Let's talk to Alan. You're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I just come in from, I went out to Sherwin. Now I'm trying to find this My wife dropped a lipstick the other day. I'm trying to find it, but I'm going through the coins in the car. Hey, you know what? You said something you were going to trigger me. I absolutely believe everything you're saying that I agree with. There's nothing worse. My culture sold themselves out. I'm going to tell you the truth. Mediocre white people, they're everywhere. You're absolutely right, and it's depressing that we've settled for such a low bar. My family, I know you know. I'm just going to tell you, my brother's a retired doctor. My sister's still a physician at Children's Hospital, and she teaches pediatrics over there at Freighter. And myself, I went to law school, and I chose not to practice. The thing is, you know, I had trouble in my life. I realized, but the thing is, when I was younger, the dumbest kid on the planet in your class was smarter than the smartest kid today. I worked in a lot of charter schools, so I worked with a lot of African American kids. And I tell my wife this, and I tell people flat out, some of the smartest kids that I've ever taught, that I encountered, were kids who suffered every setback you could possibly imagine, culturally, societal. And when you tapped into their potential, that's what I like when you talk about, you wouldn't believe the results you get. But then the thing would be, other adults in the buildings would resent what we're doing in my room. They'd come in, even principals would come in. Mr. So-and-so, is that Jimmy on the board? And I'm like, well, yeah, what's Jimmy doing? Jimmy's giving us a report about the indigenous peoples of Wisconsin. Well, how did he do that? I asked him to stand up and do it. We said, nobody's going to laugh. Take your time. So everything you're saying is absolutely right. By the way, ich spreche Deutsch. Sprichst du?
Ja, ich spreche Deutsch, aber mein Deutsch ist nicht so gut.
Yeah, ich bin müde.
God, your German is terrible.
You actually huh?
Your German is awful, Alan.
You know what I hate about German? Yeah, it is horrible because I learned how to speak from my grandfather. When I was in university, I had to take I had a professor, I'm going to say his name, Christoph. I've never hated an instructor like I hated. He detested me because of multiple reasons. But that was the hardest stuff I ever had to do in my life. And then I'd go home and talk to my father. You know, and the thing is, success is everywhere. But you know, the school thing is absolutely right. They need to break up MPS, and they need to get rid of a lot of the dead wood. We have so many instructors, and I mean, I'm just going to tell you this. I made good money. And people would complain to me about, well, like when I was down at Case in Racine, I'm an example. They called a strike. Some of my coworkers called a strike. So I come to work. Nobody told me they were going to walk out. Now, I did special education. Kids can go to school till they're 21, right? So I have students whose parents depended
Alan, can you kind of move it along here? Because we don't necessarily need your bio. I got a 3-hour radio show now. You kind of have a theme to your comments. And let's wrap it up.
Yeah, the theme is you're absolutely right.
All right. Thank you, Alan. Can we leave it there that I'm right? Because we don't agree very often. Oops, I had to hang up on him. Because he was just going to go. I'm going to tell you. I'll just tell you. I'm going to say his name. Okay, I'm going to take a break. And I want to share with you. The article feels like gaslighting to me. And I don't know who this Alec Johnson is. He's a Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reporter. But, and maybe I overanalyzed it, or I looked into the article a little bit too deep, because no article written about the state report card and the results that MPS showed, no article about that should even be slightly optimistic. It is completely and totally unacceptable, and it spells a bleak future for the city of Milwaukee, because we cannot have these children with these levels of performance that are so low and think that we can have a Milwaukee workforce. I'm a Milwaukeean. I chose to stay here. I could have gone other places. And I don't want any extra credit because I chose to stay. But I want the workforce of this town to be people that are from here. Because, you know, Milwaukee folks, we're real particular. And it's cool that people come here from other places, like a lot of my colleagues here. at 101.7 The Truth or from other places, but it's different if you ain't from here. You know what I mean? Like, there's things that Milwaukee folks understand that outsiders don't understand. It takes them 20 years to maybe begin to understand, and even then, they still feel like foreigners. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's conversations and things that Milwaukeeans can do and say amongst one another that we understand that somebody from Kansas don't get, or somebody from the Ohios or the Indianas or the Michigans or, God forbid, Chicago. Nice Bucks win last night against the Bulls. Was at the game last night. I happened to see my man DZ on floor hosting. Oh, he's in his element. Man, oh man, that DZ is fantastic. All right, let's take a break. Come back. I'm going to dig into this article that appeared in the Journal Sentinel about, says, how did MPS do on the state report card it received from the Department of Public Instruction? The article should have started out by saying terrible, but it didn't. So we'll talk about that next. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tired of having to decline food at a potluck where you don't know where the food came from?
Don't you let your cats on your kitchen counters?
Host your next holiday with Shawnee's Exquisite Catering, now booking holiday office and corporate parties, or perhaps a private chef for your intimate family holiday gathering, or add to your Thanksgiving meal. Pick up sides such as Southern-style cornbread dressing, candied yams, baked macaroni and cheese, collard greens, and more. And for desserts, peach cobbler and sweet potato pie. Connect on Facebook or Instagram, Shawnee's Exquisite Catering, or call 414-216-3469. Milwaukee Health Services Incorporated is celebrating 35 years of serving all-income and medically underserved populations of Milwaukee's metropolitan area. MHSI is a one-stop shop that provides medical, radiology, dental, pediatric, behavioral health, pharmacies with affordable medications, and more. Also, MHSI's new family medicine residency program, located at the Isaac Cogg's Heritage Health Center, has brought 28 family doctors to our area, which is significantly impacted by healthcare workforce shortages. Become a new patient today. To schedule an appointment, call 414-372-8080. Your health is their business.
Check out Jammin' with Juice, where it's amazingly juicy.
I'm going to tell y'all straight up, though. Y'all little brothers, y'all little sisters, y'all doing good. I don't think y'all know how good y'all doing it.
Thank you.
Because y'all, it's hard to get the young people to talk about these important issues.
Like, let's say you washing your body, you washing your hair, you wash your face, you cleaned your ears, you got behind them ears, you brushed your teeth, your makeup off, you done exfoliated, you done shaved. Why not brush your teeth in the shower? Why not use the bathroom in the shower?
As we wrap up the show with a bow, I'm flaming, bitch. You was looking up to Steve Harvey.
Yeah. He was a positive black man, you know.
I feel
Had
it.
a good show. He had some swag.
He was a music teacher.
He was the music teacher.
You love music.
Yeah. Shoot, he was messing around with the principal. Like, come on now.
He thought he was playing.
Yeah. He's a king of comedy. This man doing it. I want to be like Steve. What's up, my jammer?
What's up, guys? You know what? I just want to say you guys are the best thing rocking at 12 noon. You guys just bring so much energy to 12 o'clock. I don't even want to eat my lunch because I want to hear what Big Jammin' and Naughty Juice got to say.
You sitting at the crib, you watching TV, and your life's passing you by. You keep procrastinating over and over. Maybe I'll go to school next year, maybe next month. No, do it right now. You can do it after work, or you can do it before work. Just do whatever you need to do to graduate.
There is definitely a line when it comes to just enhancing your beauty versus like completely altering your entire body in more ways than one to look completely different.
From the 414 to everyone across the globe, Jammin' with Juice is here for you. Check out Jammin' with Juice daily on YouTube.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I want to do something that's not normally done, and I want to do it just for the sake of information's purposes. For information's sake? Or whatever. We don't examine whiteness because we just see it as normal. It's like the soundtrack that's playing in the background everywhere we go. It's like elevator music. It's just there. It's normal. It's regular. And anything that differs and deviates from it, that's the oddity. That is what is unusual. And I think as time goes on, that is going to change. But because whiteness and white culture is underanalyzed, because once you analyze it, you see it for what it is. It really is an illusion. It was an illusion that was created based on pseudo-supremacy and oppression and theft and all these other sinister things. And of course, I'm not talking about all white people, because here's the thing. Most white people are disconnected from their ancestry and their heritage until they take a 23andMe test. They take a DNA test, and then they kind of reconnect with it again. But they're mostly disconnected to it. That's why the arguments about like slavery and Jim Crow and the systemic and institutional oppression of black people does not register with them. And they're always going to tell you, well, I didn't do any of that. When they answer that way, when you want to talk about things that black people are still connected to, they're not, in their minds, they're not connected to what happened a long time ago, and we need to just forget about it. Like, we need to have short memories, but they can have long memories. They're not going to forget September 11th. They're not going to forget the damn Alamo. They're not going to forget the Revolutionary War, but we're supposed to forget because they're not impacted by it, or they think that they're not impacted by it, by what happened to us. But also, like, subconsciously, when you think about it, if you're a regular white person, whatever that is, I don't know, you live in Elkhorn or New Berlin or Waukesha or somewhere, and you see a black person, and maybe you just look past them or you look through them, or maybe you're curious as to who they are and why they are in your vicinity, maybe. But subconsciously, you have to think about some kind of guilt, because we're here because of the worst sin that humanity can commit against itself. That we are here. We're a reflection of an institution that is as sinister as you can possibly get. So just seeing us is a reminder of that institution. Now, whether they internalize that or not, whether they vocalize that or not, probably not. But here's the thing. That's why we have segregation still to this day. They just don't want to see us. They don't want to be reminded of why we're here. Because we are here because of their sinister actions. Now, here's the thing. I'm not trying to make individual white people feel guilty. And that's the other thing that I don't understand about the master race. They're so sensitive. We can't analyze whiteness and white culture. And when we don't analyze it, it is to our detriment, okay? We don't analyze it because they get defensive and they shut it down. Oh, Sherwin, why are you always bringing up race? See, they don't have to bring up race. They go unanalyzed. They go unexamined. So don't worry, I got articles here that is going to analyze and examine white culture, but not coming from me, because you guys may think that I'm biased. This is coming from other white people who are concerned that they analyze every other culture, every other race. We know all of the contributions of this group and that group, and they look at these other groups and they study them intensely, but they do not study themselves because they just consider themselves regular and normal. That's why they want to know who all these immigrants are that are coming to the country. You got to make sure they're not rapists and murderers and criminals, when the majority of the rapists and the murderers and the criminals are actually Americans. But they don't analyze themselves, because I don't know if they like what they will find. And I'm not saying this to make anybody feel guilty, but I think the reason why they get so sensitive when we talk about things relating to race and culture and ethnicity is because they never had to think about it. And why are we making them think about things that they just want to they can ignore? Because when white people stay surrounded by white people, it's just normal. They talk about episodes of Friends that they watched, the Dave Matthews Band. They just, you know what I'm saying? It's just normal, regular for them because they go unanalyzed. And that is the privilege. You don't have to be held responsible for the foundation and the groundwork laid by your far more racist ancestors that you get to benefit from today. And they'll tell you, oh, Sherwin, they'll say. Even if they're talking to you, they'll say, oh, Sherwin, we don't have any privilege. My grandfather grew up poor. Yeah, because he couldn't read. That's why. He dropped out of school in 6th grade. Oh, we didn't have any privilege. You didn't take advantage of them, and that's your fault. Lay some privilege and some opportunity out in front of black folks and watch us exploit it to death. Whoa, we'll take advantage of it in a second. We'll take advantage of that privilege until it runs out. We'll overdraw our privilege. And so it's hard to have these conversations because they go unexamined. In the whole American public education system, whiteness goes either unexamined or it's lies. Christopher Columbus is a lie. Thanksgiving is next Thursday. Total lie. Just lies. All right, here we go. Milwaukee Public Schools has, quote, met expectations on its 2023-24 state report card, according to data released by the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction on Tuesday. The DPI gave MPS an overall accountability score of 58.2 on a scale of 100. That right there, 58 on a scale of 100, should trigger outrage from everybody, unless that's the point, to be comfortable with a 58.2 out of 100. And then the article goes on, I'm going to read a little bit more of it, to measure 0.2% of upward movement in the lowest performing group. That's not progress. That's probably a fluke in the data. If you even trust the data. The children might, because there's ways in which you can cook books and make data look slightly more palatable, and they always do that. They fudge the numbers a little bit. They always do it. There's a little fudging of the numbers. Whenever you have human beings involved in telling a story with numbers and you want to paint a rosier picture, if the real facts are bleak and you want the public to think, oh, wow, this is optimistic, you fudge the numbers a little bit. So our students may be performing worse than this. Now, here's the other thing. It's not all students. Some students are doing well. But if there was anything I wanted you guys to learn from Aisha Carr's many visits to my radio program, when they ask for more money for the district, they are asking for more money so they can supplement programs in schools where the kids are already doing stellar. The kids who are performing the lowest do not get those resources. They don't. And that is a disparity that exists within the system. The DPI gave MPS an overall accountability score of 58.2 on a scale of 100, slightly higher than the district's 22-23 overall accountability score of 58.0. The 2022-23 rating also put MPS in the, quote, meets expectations category. How is that not offensive? What expectations did it meet? It's meeting expectations that white folks have for black people, for black children. I think just as a whole, they think a little bit less of us. And it's not even to be mean. It's just oh, black people are poor. You know, black people have a lot of disadvantages. Oh, that's sad. That meets expectations for them. Like when somebody says, oh, I love that for you. Do people ever say that to you? When somebody says that to me, oh, sure, I'll tell somebody about something I got going on. I got something good going on. I'm happy about something. I want to share some news about something I got goings on. Oh, Sherwin, I love that for you. I don't know why I can't say that as a compliment, because when I say something good, I got something good going on, I want them to love it for themselves too. Oh, Sherwin, I love that for us. I love that for you. Oh, that's a you thing. Yay, you. Don't say that to me. The DPI state report card measures how school districts and schools across Wisconsin perform during a given year beyond just the results of the standardized testing. In evaluating school districts and schools, the Department of Public Instruction looks at outcomes in the areas of achievement, growth, target group outcomes, and on track to graduation. What is lacking is another variable that says, so if you take the data a step further, and I put the actual report card statistics up in the Choose Hughes Facebook group. That's the Facebook group that corresponds to the show, where I share articles and topics that we discuss here from 9 a.m. until noon, Monday through Friday. It's very difficult to read. But so what I'd like to see, and I don't even know why I'm going to suggest this, because MPS would probably spend $5 million on some consultant to add this additional data that I want to see, and maybe it's worth it. I want them to say, okay, with this data, with these test scores, third grade language arts and eighth grade math, et cetera. So with these scores, if these children stay on this trajectory, here are the jobs that they will potentially get. With their scores being as such, if they graduate from high school, some of them will not, because we know our graduation rate is less than 75%. I want them to say, Okay, with the scores being what they are and the student achievement and performance being where it is, here's the jobs that these kids can expect to get. Street person, prison kitchen worker, servant to P. Diddy in jail. You know what I mean? Like, tell us what these kids, what they're on track for professionally, because it ain't necessarily higher education, and it's not being a CEO of a Fortune 300 company. Tell us that, because we need more urgency. But we are the ones that have to spark the urgency. So I'm encouraged because I saw what the black body politic did on November 5th. And I'm not going to look at it in the context of Kamala Harris lost the race. Speaking of her, I got an article right here that says 41% of Democrats want Kamala Harris to run again in 2028. 41%. You know who the next person down is on that list of, these are Democratic voters, not likely voters, not regular American people. Like registered Democratic voters want 41% of them want Kamala Harris to do it again in 28. The next person down is Gavin Newsom with 8%. Hey, listen, I'll ride with Kamala. I'll ride with her if she wants to get a second shot at it. Let me tell you why. Trump got a second shot at it and he won. I'll ride with her. What'd you say, Ricky? You over here yelling in my ear while I'm yelling in the microphone. Oh. Ricky's telling me I got to take a commercial break. These breaks are intrusive. Fine. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It's College Month on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, and we want to help your young scholars get those free scholarship dollars. All month long, we will be highlighting local universities who offer full tuition scholarships and local organizations who help students find thousands of dollars in scholarships each year. So be sure to tune into 1017 The Truth College Month so you can learn how your scholar can get those scholarship dollars. College Month on The Truth is sponsored by Educators Credit Union and Concordia University, Wisconsin.
Are record energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? With limited incomes not keeping up with the lingering effects of inflation, you might be one of tens of thousands of Wisconsin residents who are struggling to survive in the blistering heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter. While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today and call 1-800-506-5596. That's 800-506-5596. Or visit www.kwwf.org.
At UW Credit Union, our home loans have everything you need for your next big step, including up to $750 off closing costs for all home buyers. And first-time buyers can save even more. So if you're ready to trade roomies for more room, or your townhome for an out-of-town home, UW Credit Union will be with you. From start to furnished, UW Credit Union. Apply online today. Equal housing lender. Credit may be limited as required by program. Visit uwcu.org for details.
Are you or anyone you know looking to open a small business or learn the industry? Attend the City of Milwaukee 9th District Business Conference November 21st from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ross Innovative Employment Solutions. Brought to you by Milwaukee 9th District Alderwoman Larissa Taylor, helping you take your next steps towards financial empowerment. Sponsored by Alderwoman Larissa Taylor of the 9th District of the City of Milwaukee. City of Milwaukee, Granville, BID, Ross Innovative Employment Solutions.
My name is Adrienne, and I was hurt in a car accident. What Gruber Law Office has done for me was made me feel safe. It didn't cost me anything, just one call, that's all.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
On Track to Graduation shows how students are doing in meeting goals that predict success after high school, including attendance and graduation rates. Using those priority areas, the DPI gives each school and school district an overall accountability score that classifies them into 5 ratings: significantly exceeds expectations, meets expectations, meets few expectations, and fails to meet expectations. Quote, when I look at us being fairly in line with where we were last year, I think that's a positive thing. The achievement and growth areas are using last year's data and the prior year, so we've got a similar story going there that we didn't dip down, if you will. We can't dip any lower. Do you see it? Like the language that these people use to describe our student performance at MPS is so condescending. They literally have a baseline of us that we're stupid. And if we stay like in the same kind of like low levels of stupid, like, oh, that's a good thing. Who this lady is? Natalie Collins. That's who said that. She said, when I look at us being fairly in line with where we were last year, I think that's a positive thing because the achievement and growth areas are using last year's data and the prior years. So we've got a similar story going there that we didn't dip down, if you will. MPS Director of Research, Assessment, and Data, Natalie Collins, told the Journal Sentinel in a phone interview. For the 2023-24 report card, the Department of Public Instruction used data from the 21-22 and 22-23 and 23-24 school years. The DPI adjusted its state standardized testing cut scores to better align with state academic standards that were updated last summer. It implemented a 1-year scale adjustment to achieve scoring for better comparability of report cards. The highest performing MPS school in the 23-24 school year both receive ratings of significantly exceeds expectations are Whittier Elementary School and Reagan College Prep. Whittier, a 3-year-old kindergarten through 5th grade school, received an overall accountability score of 89. Reagan received an overall accountability score of 84.9, so this is out of 100. Those are actually decent scores. 22 MPS schools received exceeds expectations, while 42 schools received meets expectations. In 22-23, 23 MPS schools received exceeds expectations ratings, while 44 schools received meets expectations. Remember, meeting expectations is low and unacceptable. On the lower performing end of the scale, 43 schools received meets few expectations. 35 received fails to meet expectations. 50 schools received meets few expectations, and 23 schools received fails to meet expectations. Like 75% of the schools are underperforming. That's the takeaway here. That's the urgency. That's the call to action. 75% of these schools, most people, when looking at this data, if you're from somewhere else and you're thinking about Milwaukee because you came to Milwaukee for the Summerfest, you came to Milwaukee for the little night market, you came to Milwaukee to, I don't know, go to the lakefront and eat at a bunch of restaurants and get drunk on a beer garden, and you rather like Milwaukee. You might want to relocate your little family to Milwaukee, and you look at this, you wouldn't even consider it. You see this data, like, better off staying where you at. Examples of the lowest performing schools in the 23-24 school years were, of course, Asata and Shalom high schools, which both received fails to meet expectations ratings. What trends did MPS experience from 22-23 to 23-24? In 23-24, MPS's growth score was a 67, an increase from its 22-23 growth score of 65.1. The district showed growth in English and language arts from 69.8 in 22-23 to 71.7 in 23-24. That sounds good, but it's still really horrible because when you're at the bottom, at the very, very bottom, any little inkling upward or a different way of reporting the data gets celebrated only by people that think that we are of low intelligence anyway. In the growth area, what we're really proud to see is that in English and language arts, the growth of the district beat other K-12 districts across the state. But other K-12 districts across the state are not at the very, very bottom. When you're at the very bottom, you can only go up. But even if they improve their scores, let's say 50%, it still would be unacceptable. I'm going to take another break, and I'll be right back for hour 2. See you in about 3 minutes.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The Cream City Challenge is here. On Friday night, the Milwaukee Panthers return home to take on the Portland State Vikings.
Underneath, Pullian is bumped, scoring in a foul from no-foot range. KP, he's the guy that Bart Lundy said was as locked in as anybody in the prep, in the scout, and it has certainly looked that way here tonight.
Scott Warris has the coverage Friday starting at 6:30 p.m. on 1017 The Truth and the Milwaukee Panthers Sports Network from Learfield. Tip-off happens at 7 o'clock.
Thank you to Associated Bank for being a founding partner of the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Together, we are committed to uplifting local organizations and supporting Black-owned businesses. So make sure you tune into Jammin' with Juice on Thanksgiving Day and Black Friday as we speak with Black-owned businesses about their journeys through entrepreneurship and encourage you to support local small businesses on Saturday, November 30th for Small Business Saturday. Whatever your financial needs are, Associated Bank can help. Member FDIC.
Truth Nation, let us take a second to brag for a moment. There is no other station in the country where you get a front row seat to hear from some of the biggest names in politics, pop culture, and sports. People like President Joe Biden.
Black child poverty was cut in half in 2021. We built black wealth, 15 million jobs nationwide, more than 2.5 million for Black Americans. Black wealth is up 60% since the pandemic.
Former President Donald Trump's son, Eric Trump.
Guys, we almost had a former president and very likely future president assassinated on live TV. Like, you know what that would have done for this country? You know what that would have made our country look like? We would look like a banana republic.
And Brewers all-star and former National League MVP Christian Yelich.
Listen, you already know.
Yeah, we got we were just in LA, so we heard our fair share of Kendrick out there in LA. Dodger Stadium has one of the best sound systems in baseball too.
Tap into the award-winning and nationally recognized 1017 The Truth by downloading the Truth app, listening live on 1017thetruth.com, and streaming us live at 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Skilled trade workers are the backbone of every community, and also the Army National Guard. Soldiers trained to keep the power flowing, engines running, and in every other trade needed to accomplish the mission. These soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All of your favorite 1017 The Truth content whenever you want. The Truth app has it all. The Truth is on 1017 and 1510 WGKB Waukesha, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It's a marvelous night for a moon dance with the stars up above in your eyes.
Welcome to hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. So I don't want to be all doom and gloom. There is a bit of a silver lining here. So I have a list of schools. This is statewide now. So from every district that exists in the state. And I have parsed out the schools or black students specifically, not students of color, not minority students, black students are performing stellar. And I had to find this data. I was working real hard this morning for y'all trying to find this data because better achievement is possible and we don't even have to go far away to get it. So I got a list of schools that ranks black student performance from, they're all doing better than what our current situation is now, right? There's some caveats to it, but we don't have to go too far away from Milwaukee to see where black students are performing well. And part of the motivation for me to find this information and share it with you, number one, to let you know that it's possible. And there's almost something intentional. There's an intentional, it seems, set of barriers to make sure that African Americans in this city almost self-deport and go other places. And I also have a list of cities where African Americans do better overall in life. When it comes to employment, when it comes to income, quality of life, and that's not in Milwaukee, by the way. None of those cities are here. In fact, Wisconsin is ranked as the worst. And at this point, it's got to be intentional. Because I just don't know if the culture of this state, whose motto is forward, sees us as a viable part of this state's future. If you are someone who needs to find talent for a living, and your success and your money and your opportunity is based upon how you find success, and maybe you find the unpolished diamond and you have to refine it, but you are rewarded, and your status comes from your ability to find success. Is there a similar system when it comes to finding black children who are academically stellar? Is there some incentive to find talented black children? And if not, why not? Black children in the United States, and this is probably worthy of further discussion, even though I'm not going to get into it in detail today. Academically, black children in America lead in 0 categories. That didn't sit well with me. There is not a single academic category where black children, African American children in the United States of America are top. None. 0. None. In no subject matter anywhere in the nation do we lead. But then when I furthered my search, it did talk about where we lead. And it's interesting because when I search, because lead and lead is spelled the same way. It said that we lead in lead poisoning. I got that. And we also lead in athletics. But academically, we lead in nothing. I would like for us to set that goal because we got to have high goals for ourselves, but I also want this to be a part of our political conversation. We have seen the slight shift of the African American coalition move away from Democrats, and the Democrats are going to scramble really, really hard to try and rebuild their coalition. And I think that they'll be able to do it. It depends on how much they want our help in rebuilding a fractured African American coalition. Not still firmly implanted with the Democrats, but they can't afford to lose really any more African American votes, especially black men. Then from national perspectives, national policy perspectives, and whoever runs for president in 2028, they have to say this is a problem for America when black children don't lead in any academic category. Not one. Because that ultimately harms America, because we still need to be competitive with China. We still need to be competitive with the Indians from India. We still need to be competitive with the people from the Europes and the South Americas and the Central Americas and the Mexican Americas or the Canadian Americas. And if our African American populations don't lead in anything academically, that hurts the whole country. But there's a lot of America that's perfectly okay with that. So what the Democrats need to do, especially as a rebuke of Donald Trump wanting to destroy the Department of Education, because how we achieve better and higher academic standards and how we can get African American children and students to lead in, I don't care what academic category it is, but we need to lead in something because I know how talented we are. But there's no incentive for them to find our talent because remember, a lot of them are just mediocre. And you know what mediocrity does? It encourages itself. Mediocrity pats other average people on the back, and then they think that they're stellar. I have an example, but I don't want to offend anybody. Oh, boy, I don't know if I should say. Oh, I'm walking a thin line, Sherwin. You're walking a thin line. Sometimes when women are supportive of one another, the first thing they'll do is compliment her on her beauty. I never understood that. Like, that's the highest compliment you can pay to a woman. The highest compliment you can pay to a man is not saying he's handsome. I mean, it's cool if he is handsome, but that is by no means the highest compliment we can receive as a man. But women do that. And I get it. Women want to be encouraging of one another because being a woman sucks, especially now in America. It sucks probably worse than it has in 50 years. I feel for you ladies. I do. It's a rough one out there for y'all. It's going to get a little bit worse, but then maybe it'll turn the corner at some point. And so a woman will post a picture on the social media internets, and maybe the social media internets is not real life, but for a lot of people it is. There's like 2 generations of Americans that grew up with a digital footprint. Like they've been on the internet their entire lives. Some people alive right now in America have been on the internet since before they were born. How? Their mother posted their ultrasound pictures. Imagine that. So a woman will post a picture. Not a particularly good one. And you'll have all these women. Oh, my God, girl, you so pretty, girl. Oh, girl, look at your hair. Oh, look at you. Oh, you killing it, girl. Whatever women say when they encourage one another. Not complimenting her on anything else but who she is as a person, what she does for a living. None of that. And they may know this woman, but they're all the first thing they do. Or they'll say something like, oh, my God, young lady, you're so pretty. Why are you single? I can't believe that guy cheated on you. You're so pretty. It has nothing to do with that. But then what happens is an average-looking woman who is told she is pretty all of the time believes that she might actually be pretty when she's just mediocre. White mediocrity works the exact same way. So, and not all white people are mediocre. Some are very good at stuff. There's some are good. I'm not saying all. You don't want a stereotype. But when there's a whole bunch of them and they're all just really basic because they don't really want or invite competition from other races and other cultures, because then their mediocrity has a spotlight shined on it. And they don't want that. And I've seen it. I've seen it in so many white corporate structures because I've been in and around and participated with and worked with so many different white corporate structures. And I'm looking around, I'm talking to people, and it might be at an event, and you're talking to somebody, and you ask yourself after 10 or 15 minutes of talking to them, because they're very proud of who they are and what they've accomplished, and they're proud of their titles. They love the titles, don't they? And, oh, sure, when I'm a this and a that, and I have a this and a certificate, and I've got a bunch of initials after my name, and I'm talking to them, I'm trying to dig a little deeper, trying to find out what makes this person tick. If I'm talking to somebody for 15 minutes and I don't know what you're good at, if I don't know what I call core competency is, then you're mediocre. Stellar people will shine. There's something about them, right? It's almost like they have this aura. They have like this quality about them that is very unique. But average people focus on stuff like title. Well, when I was 19, I was appointed to student government president. And then from there, it was off to the races. Or whatever they say, or however they laugh. Just a bunch of average folk. And I want them to be better too, right? I want all Americans to be better. But what I don't want is for mediocrity to then think that it can judge black excellence. Because it can't. Because you're average. And you can only excel in an environment where the standards just kind of hover around average. But again, they can get away with being average. We cannot. So there needs to be some sort of incentive, even though this could be setting us up for something sinister, where white people are encouraged to cultivate and find black talent other than athletic talent or singing and dancing talent, because they do that very well. They'll find a black artist and exploit them and make money off of them, et cetera, et cetera. But what about black academic talent? What about really smart, like Mensa-worthy, intelligent, IQ of 150, 160, 170 black people, and the things that they can provide for this country? Because we have to have a different set of coping mechanisms than everybody else. White people can fail. They also can be successful. But their failure in this country will never be because of their skin color. They will never be held back And they'll tell you that they are, and they call that reverse discrimination. What do they call reverse discrimination? And we all have to know and understand this terminology. If you take nothing away from my radio show, what they call reverse discrimination is simply competition. Competition in which they sometimes lose. They didn't get into the college, they didn't get the job, they didn't get the promotion, and somebody black did. And now they label it, too, when black people or brown people or whatever, people of color, I'm going to use that term even though I hate it. Whenever we get a position that they don't think that we should be in, they call it a DEI hire. That's exactly what that is. That's them saying we're mediocre, and somebody who was not mediocre that's also not white got the job. They're a DEI hire. No, just say that you're mediocre and you couldn't get the job. It's okay. Everybody can't get every job they apply for, nor do we want everyone to get every job that they apply for. If I apply to be a surgeon at Freighter, you don't want to hire me, even if I am a DEI hire. Hi, Dr. Hughes. All right, we have someone that needs their arm amputated. Come on in here, Dr. Hughes. You're a DEI surgeon hire. And you know me, I walk in with my coffee. Like, hey, how you doing? Dr. Hughes, DEI hire. So exactly which arm is it we got to amputate? They label it a DEI hire. You know exactly what that is when you hear that. That's how did you get that job or that position or that title, Blackie? Oh, they just must have hired you only because you're black. Oh, what job did you took this job away from a white person? Probably, but you also have to be qualified to get hired. All right, it says every year Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction shares test scores for various student groups in each school. These results find out which schools do best for each group and list them from best to worst. Additionally, there's a comparison of the performance of the subgroups to the performance of the schools as a whole. This is the interesting data here. This makes it easy to see if, for example, black students are overperforming or underperforming their peers in each school. So I have a list of the top 25 schools where black students are performing stellar, okay? 25 schools. Where should I start? I won't even do all 25. Let me do the top 10. The top 10, so this is where black students are performing the best in the entire state. Because DPI just came out with their report card that showed that MPS has a score of 58.2 out of 100, which is dreadful. In the schools I'm about to mention, black students outperformed and out-excelled. Except you got to wait because I got to take a break. So when I come back, I'm going to give you the top 10 schools in Wisconsin where black students did. Not only did they do well, in some cases, what school is this? I'm not going to tell you what school it is. The black students did 24.12% better than every other student in that school. That's like, oh my God, like, wait a minute. What's in their secret sauce? Here's another. Oh, look at this one right here. In this particular school, how many are on free or reduced lunch? I need that percentage. So 53.1% of the black students in this particular school are on free and reduced lunch, meaning there's some poverty involved because we always say, oh, when kids are poor, they can't learn. At this particular school, that I'm going to name when I come back from my break in a second, 53.1% of the children are on free reduced lunch. In fact, there's only one other school that has a higher number of children that are on free and reduced lunch. And these kids, these black kids at this particular school did 49.11% better than all other students in that particular school. So it can be done, ladies and gentlemen. But it's almost like it's intentional why it isn't being done in MPS. That's why I'm in support of breaking up the district into smaller, more manageable pieces where we can have much more control on the incoming and the output of that school so it can be on par with some of these schools, other schools in Wisconsin where black students are excelling. I'll give you the list on the other side. You were listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation!
And all our juicy jammers out there.
Make certain that you tap into Jam with Juice each and every day so you can quench your thirst.
That is right. You already know you can sip on us every single day, like Benjamin said, from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. But that's not all, y'all.
Catch us exclusively on YouTube for our 6 to 7 show.
Yep, only on Thursdays.
Catch Jamming with Juice each and every day on 101.7 The Truth.
Now sip on that.
This is your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
People will tell you that race is a social construct and that there's no biological reality that distinguishes between a white individual and a black individual. So what does that mean if there are these quote-unquote disparities, right? It means that the way we move through a society is markedly different, right? And that the experience that we have has biological consequences. Is when you're in a society where people are constantly discriminating against a certain group, denying access, don't have control over the institutions that govern our lives. All of those things create a biological reality and a response, whether it's a stress hormone or a fear or something that could be passed on, what we call epigenetics, which means what my mother or my grandmother experienced had an effect on what formed me in my responses to those stressors. That's how we can be two individual people with very little difference, but have totally, vastly different experiences as we move through our reproductive health.
This has been your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
Are you or anyone you know looking to open a small business or learn the industry? Attend the City of Milwaukee 9th District Business Conference November 21st from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ross Innovative Employment Solutions. Brought to you by Milwaukee 9th District Alderwoman Larissa Taylor, helping you take your next steps towards financial empowerment. Sponsored by Alderwoman Larissa Taylor of the 9th District of the City of Milwaukee. City of Milwaukee, Granville, BID, Ross Innovative Employment Solutions.
I'm very familiar with Gruber Law Offices because they're always out in the community.
Gruber Law Offices are known to be honest, hardworking.
They're always involved in our neighborhoods.
Gruber Law Offices make our community a better place.
They are the best. For nearly 40 years, Gruber Law Offices has helped people throughout Wisconsin. If you're injured, we're here to help. One call, that's all.
Wisconsin would not be the same without Gruber Law Offices.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
The top 10 schools in the state of Wisconsin where black students are performing stellarly or stellar? Stellarly. Number 10 is DeForest High School. DeForest is a little small podunk town north of Madison. They have 1,099 students total. 17.5% of the black students are on free and reduced lunch. $12,537 is invested per pupil. Statewide percentile rank for African Americans, 61.5%. Statewide rank of all students. So the black students at DeForest High School are in the 77th percentile of all students. So they are outpacing white students. And this is the 10th most successful school in Wisconsin for black students. However, their percentile rank from all other students at that school is minus 15.72%. The 9th best performing school for African Americans is East High. Which East High? Wauwatosa East High, 1,067 students. 19.5% are on free and reduced lunch. 65.4% is the percentile rank amongst all students. The statewide percentile rank, these are of the black students, are in the 91.4% percentile. So they are doing better than 91.4% of other Wisconsin students. Number 8, Menominee Falls High School. 22% of the black students at Menominee Falls High School are on free and reduced lunch. Those black students are 69.2% better than all other students in the state. No, 69% better than all African American students in the state. They are 81.2% better than statewide students. Number 7, Oak Creek High School, 29.1% of the black students at Oak Creek High School are on free and reduced lunch. Their statewide rank amongst other African Americans, they're doing 73.1% better than other black students in the state of Wisconsin at Oak Creek High School. And as far as their statewide comparison, black students at Oak Creek High School are doing 49%. They're in the 49th percentile statewide, so about mid-pack, which is about average. Number 6, Memorial High. Which Memorial High? Eau Claire Area School District, where 27% of the black students at the Eau Claire Area School District are on free and reduced lunch. Their statewide percentile rank amongst other African-American students at Memorial High in Eau Claire is they're doing 76.9% better than black students in the rest of the state. And statewide, they're in the 90.5 percentile, so they're performing better. Black students are performing better than 90% of the students in Wisconsin. Number 5, Nicolet High School. We used to call it Nickelbag High School because them kids used to smoke a lot of drugs back in the day. Nicolet High School has 1,089 students. 20.2% of the black students at Nickelbag High School are on free and reduced lunch. Their statewide percentile rank amongst other black students are doing 80% better than other black students, and they're doing 93.5% amongst the statewide students. Number 4, Homestead High School. 11.5%, probably the lowest percentage of black students on free and reduced lunch to go to Homestead High. Their statewide percentile rank is 84.6 amongst black students. Their statewide rank percentile amongst all students is 96.3. The black students at Homestead High are performing stellarly. Number 3 is Germantown High School. 13.7% of the black students at the Germantown High School are on free and reduced lunch. Their statewide rank percentile is 88.5%. Their statewide rank amongst all students is 88.9. These kids are doing incredible, black kids at Germantown High School. Reagan College Prep. So this is our first Milwaukee Public School district school that appears on this list, and it's a charter school. So I'm going to read the details for Reagan, then I'm going to give you the number 1 school, which is going to make somebody here at 1017 The Truth jump up and down when they hear what the number 1 school is, because they went there. One of my colleagues did. Number 2 is Reagan. 51.9% of the black students at Reagan are on free and reduced lunch. Their statewide percentile rank is 92.3. They are doing 92.3% better than black students statewide. And amongst all other students statewide, the black students at Reagan are doing 84.9% better, which is 7.39% better than the average in the state of Wisconsin. And the number 1 school for black students, high schools, Whitefish Bay. Only 1.6% of the black students at Whitefish Bay are on free and reduced lunch. They got a total student body of 941 students. The statewide percentile rank is 96.2. The statewide rank of black students at Whitefish Bay High School is 99.5. Let me tell you something. There's only 0.5% of Wisconsin students outperforming black students at Whitefish Bay. There are no Milwaukee public schools in the top 10. This is the largest school district. This is the most well-funded school district in the state of Wisconsin, and only school that is related to the Milwaukee public school system is a charter school in Reagan College Prep. Now, if I expand that out at number, where's the first MPS school? King is 13. Rufus King High School is at 13. And then their statewide rank amongst African Americans is the 50 percentile. Their statewide rank amongst all students in the state of Wisconsin is 12.3. So even the King, and we always celebrate King, like, oh my God, it's the best school ever. No, it's not. 87% of the kids in the state of Wisconsin are outperforming the black kids at King. So King is not that stellar. Brown Deer is number 11. So it just missed the top 10. 53.1% of the black students at Brown Deer are on free and reduced lunch. Their percentile rank amongst other black students is 57.7. Their statewide rank amongst all students is 8.6. Their percentile rank amongst all students statewide is 49.11. So it can be done, ladies and gentlemen. You have to wonder. And these schools are basically in the vicinity. Shorewood is 12, King is 13, Wauwatosa West. So Wauwatosa has both of its schools, East and West, in the top 15. Madison West is number 15. Milwaukee High School of the Arts is 16. Indian Trail High School, where is that? That's in Kenosha. Verona Area High School. These are where black students are outperforming their counterparts and their peers. Verona is number 18. Number 19 is Vel Phillips Memorial High School, which is a part of the Madison Metropolitan School District. Then you have Sun Prairie. Nathan Hale is 21. Racine Park is 22. La Follette, Case, and Riverside is number 25. So MPS only has 2 schools, and I'm not including Reagan because that's a charter school. No, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, MPS. I'll give you Reagan. So in the top 25, MPS only has 3 schools. But the rest of the schools are in the metro area. They're in Milwaukee County. Nicolay, Oak Creek, Whitefish Bay, Shorewood, Brown Deer, Tosa East, Tosa West. What else? Well, Milwaukee High School of the Arts is number 16, so I guess that's the 3rd or 4th MPS school. So it can be done, ladies and gentlemen. We just need a higher sense of urgency, and one of the ways in which we can implement that urgency is there are 3 members of the MPS school board that are running for, I'd imagine, re-election in the spring of 2025, and those elections are going to start pretty soon. They're going to start collecting nomination signatures next month, and next month starts in 9 days. Anyone who is running to be on the MPS school board needs to see the utter failure of the district as a whole, but then be outraged and upset. And they also need to feel a sense of urgency with how poor black students are performing in MPS. But then they also need to see these schools and these districts where black students are outperforming statewide students, and they need to make that their call for action. And if they are not doing that, if that is not a part of their campaign for a school board, then they shouldn't get elected. The person that I would like to vote for sees the level of urgency in the poor performance of our students, because that means that it doesn't bode well for our students' future. And if it doesn't bode well for our students' future, it does not bode well for the future workforce of Milwaukee. Take a break, come back. I got some stuff here I want to share with you. We're going to dive into what is whiteness? Like, what is it? Is it just normal, regular, everything? Is it the background music that plays in America, or are there some cultural affinities in whiteness that we sometimes miss? We'll talk about that. And the cities where black Americans thrive the most and the least. We'll talk about all that next. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
In our community, you will find a Center for Food Security. You'll discover a Center for Behavioral Health Support, a proven Center for Home Care, a successful Center for Employment, a Center for Trauma Recovery, and more. We are Centers for Independence. Find out how you can support Centers for Independence's work and mission at cfihope.org/independence.
As a bull rider, I prefer to do things single-handedly. That's why I love the UW Credit Union app. Doggy! It lets me check accounts, make transfers and more on the go. And if I need an extra hand, UW Credit Union has 13 Milwaukee area branches. Yippee! So, if you want simple mobile banking, mosey on over to UW Credit Union. They're here for every y'all. Federally insured by NCUA.
More than 6 million kids in the U.S. have ADHD, and many aren't getting the support they need. At understood.org, we can help. Sometimes in class, the only thing your child can focus on are the thoughts racing through their head.
Why am I always falling behind? Why do I feel so alone? So different.
Your child is looking to you for answers. But as a parent, you probably have a lot of questions too. What should I do next? Where do I even start? At understood.org, we provide parents with the resources they need to help kids with ADHD thrive. Your child wants to thrive. Be the reason they do. Visit understood.org/the reason to get started.
Mama, what does the chicken say?
Chicken. Oh, okay.
When the wolf?
Oh, a wolf. Ooh!
What about the tiny dog? Cat? Owl? Dolphin? What does the turkey say? Whale?
Whale sound.
Do the giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Okay. Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I don't want you to think that I'm race baiting, because I know how sensitive some people can be when it comes to the issue of race, because white folks don't want to be held accountable and responsible for things that they do. When they're operating in their normal course of business, they don't want to be held responsible for how they can harm people. So they don't want to talk about race. They don't want to talk about culture. They're asking us all the time, why you keep bringing that up? Because they don't want to be held responsible for it, because they don't really do well with certain kinds of responsibility. But as the master race, you're supposed to have more responsibility. You're supposed to be the caretakers of this nation and the republic. But I want to give you guys an example of white mediocrity, just so you don't think that I'm race baiting. And just by me using that term, people will think, oh, sure, when you're being a racist. We can talk about black mediocrity all day, too, because black mediocrity goes nowhere. Do you understand me? Nowhere. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't get the job. It doesn't get the promotion. It doesn't get its name celebrated in the paper. It doesn't become famous. Black mediocrity does not become rich. We can't be mediocre. That is why when we have standards for our students that are below average and unacceptable, you are guaranteeing there will be another generation of African-American poor people. You are guaranteeing that there's another generation of black people that won't get the jobs, that won't get the promotion, that won't get the corner office, allowing white mediocrity to outpace it. So you keep black children behind so that average white people can get jobs. But here's the best example I can give you of white mediocrity. You tell me if you agree or disagree. In fact, text 1 to 833-212-1017. Text the number 1 if you agree. Text number 2 if you disagree with this example I'm going to give you of white mediocrity. Text 1 if you agree. Text 2 if you disagree to 833-212-1017, and I'll do a tally. The best examples of white mediocrity. Donald Trump's cabinet. Tell me I'm wrong. In the areas of expertise in which they are being selected for, none of them are stellar. None of them are outstanding. None of them have made a name for themselves in the special interest areas in which they are being selected to run for the federal government. I remember back when Donald Trump said he was going to pick the best people. And to some extent, for some positions, especially folks in the military, he did. But then he found that the best people don't agree with him, so he fired them, and he replaced them with mediocre people that are loyal. His cabinet these are mediocre people. These are people that would never serve as a cabinet secretary in any other presidential administration because at best they're average. Or at worst they're insane and have sex with children. But do you understand that? Like how white mediocrity, like Matt Gaetz, not exactly a stellar congressman, They're starting to release the redacted documents of the $400 payments that he made to the 17-year-old girl, and they have in a little, you can put in a little, you can type in the box like the reason for the payment, just for being you, just because I think you're nice. It's disgusting. That's the best example I could give. Who Donald Trump will continue to put in his cabinet to be closest to him are below average, most of them. At the very best, they're just like, none of them are going to be impressive. None of them are going to be leading the world in anything. Trump himself is mediocre. He just knows how to lie to people. He's good at that. He's good at something sinister. And now our country is going to be ruled by mediocre people at the very best. At the worst, they're criminals and child sex predators. But guess what? America voted for that. America has gotten used to seeing white average people as incredible and stellar. It's nuts, right? Okay, replace Donald Trump's cabinet with black people that have the same pedigree, the same backgrounds, and the same infractions. They said they didn't appoint Byron Donalds because he has a criminal record. Did y'all hear that? Byron Donalds, who I think is a congressman somewhere. He made an appearance on this show. He called in one of our shows, Byron Donalds. He's a black Trumper. They said, they can't appoint him because he's got a criminal record, which is crazy. They're not appointing Byron Donalds to anything because he's black, because Donald Trump has a criminal record. Matt Gaetz should have one. You know what else I find rich? So the best examples I can give of white mediocrity, Donald Trump and his cabinet, they're just average or criminals. A lot of them are criminals. Even Pete Hegseth, the guy that he has tapped to lead the Department of Defense, his sexual assault allegations are now coming out as well. Sex predators is what a lot of them are. They have that in common. But here's what I find rich. So there were some African Americans that detested the fact that, Kamala Harris wasn't really black, and they also made issue with, Kamala Harris called herself the first Indian woman to be vice president, or the first Indian woman to serve as senator from California, the first Indian woman in Congress, et cetera, et cetera. And some black folks took tremendous offense to that. I don't know why we would. Kamala Harris is giving credence to her mama, the same mama that she had that died from cancer, the same mama that Kamala Harris took care of until the day she died. But we as black folks, we had an issue with her claiming her mama, who she was raised by, and claiming her mama's heritage, saying, hey, I'm the first Indian. Kamala Harris is just as Indian as she is Jamaican. So we got mad at her for that, but here's what's rich. Donald Trump has appointed and is giving positions to more Indians than black people. That's crazy, right? We didn't want to support, I shouldn't say we, some of y'all didn't want to support Kamala because she promoted the fact that she was Indian. And now Donald Trump is putting more Indian folk, like Vivek Ramaswamy is going to lead the Department of Government something, Department of Government, whatever the E stands for. And it's another Indian guy that Donald Trump wants to put somewhere. All right, let's talk to Bob. What?
Hello, Sherwin. I would like to tell you this. You said, what is whiteness? Oh man, I gotta tell you this. It's so funny. At the casino, I was sitting on the other side the other day, and they didn't know I was over there. But I heard her husband talking to him. Now I don't know if this middle class white or racist white or middle of the road. But he said, your girl don't vote for Trump, by golly. And she said, why? Haven't you heard that record? You not like us? I'm sure that record is everywhere, Sharon.
Hold on a second, Bob.
Yeah,
Bob, stop talking for a second. You gotta. Sometimes when you explain stuff, it only makes sense to you. It doesn't make sense to us. So who was talking to who at the casino? There's a woman and a man at the casino. What relationship do they have to one another?
Oh, they were married.
It's a married couple. Okay.
And he was telling her to vote for Trump. And you know that record, You Not Like Us? They are like us, by golly. And she said, what do you mean? If he needs a kidney, you don't care if it's white or black. They needed to say, the blacks are not our culture. You know, you need to vote for. You know, they're getting uppity, these blacks. You know,
I don't think that man said all that in a casino talking to his wife, and I also don't think he said "by golly." But keep going.
Oh yes, he did, and he talked like that. He was sitting down while she was playing, and he was just running his mouth.
How old?
And he didn't know I was on the.
How old would you say the couple is?
They was about in their 50s, I would think, because I did see them when I left. And yeah, it's the truth. I ain't got nothing to lie about. I mean, you know, the burden of and you know, you not like us, but you heard that record. That's what he said.
He said that. Who would he say that to? Say it to you? Who's not like us?
No, he said it to his wife. He didn't know I was on the other side, Sherwin, and I heard him talking to his wife.
So who was he referring to as not being like us?
That record. You heard that record?
Yes.
See, I don't listen to. You not like us. Yeah, they are like us. If they needed a kidney, they don't care if it's black or white. They'll get that kidney. They're not like our culture, but that's why you got to vote for Trump, because, you know, they getting too uppity. He said uppity. You know, he says, you know, I'd rather for you to.
When he was referring to the Kendrick Lamar record, "They're Not Like Us," he was referring to black people.
Oh, yeah, they made the record. Yeah. See, I don't listen to words. I listen to the musician and the singer, and then maybe 10 years, and then I say, what did they say? You know, but that song, he says it so much, I can't help but understand it. You're not like us. You're not, I mean, the man, it was funny, Sherwin.
I guess we had to be there, and none of us were.
Well, listen, this is true. To be a second or third or fourth class citizen, black people have to be like police.
Uh-huh.
Even you stated that. Why do they have to be? Policemen got to be right all the time. We got to know what's happening all the time. The white people get to be naive if they want to, and they don't have to worry about what happened most of the time. That's a fact. And who is the man that white and black people love? And he's above all. And oh my goodness, who would he vote for? Martin Luther King.
Huh?
Who would he vote? He definitely wouldn't vote for Trump. And my last point, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
You remember Juneteenth? You remember Juneteenth when you saw me and then you said, you need some help to get to the radio station? Your radio station. And I said, no, you go ahead. And when you walked away, I noticed something. Something hit me, Sherwin.
It didn't hit you hard enough, whatever.
You were a little cool, like Richard Pryor said you wouldn't get bit by a snake, but a white guy would. But you wasn't that cool to be liking Curtis Mayfield, you know, because I'm not. You know, but I like him. Now, I understand why I like him, and it's philosophically too deep for a young man to understand. But the topic is not me. It's you. Why do you like? That's what's interesting. I'll figure it out. And then I better get off the phone real quick here before you retaliate with me on the phone. So I'm going to have to hang up on this note and hang up. It's my turn to hang up. So I thought, you're square like me, Sherwin. Understand that. I'll talk to you later.
What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say to that? What you looking at, Rick? What you looking at? I'm going to take a break now. I can't say what I'm thinking because it would be elder abuse. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth App, and 1017thetruth.com.
It started with a prediction.
We'll go out there and play basketball and win.
And how many games?
6.
It became the culture.
Chance of Bucks in 6.
Being a Bucks fan means you live and breathe Bucks in 6. Brandon Jennings created the prophecy. Tune into Behind the Bucks, the story of Brandon Jennings on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and streaming wherever you get your podcasts.
That's for the culture.
Are record energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? With limited incomes not keeping up with the lingering effects of inflation, you might be one of tens of thousands of Wisconsin residents who are struggling to survive in the blistering heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter. While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today and call 1-800-506-5596. That's 800-506-5596. Or visit www.kwwf.org.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as 1 business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Capco's Kids to Kids Toy Drive is bringing us all together again to collect toys for children and families in need.
Join Capco and WTMJ for a celebration of giving on December 7th at the Kazmarek Center in Grafton.
This is more than just a toy drive. It's about kids helping kids. We are learning the importance of giving and how that impacts other kids and families all over Wisconsin.
Experience the joy of giving on December 7th.
And don't forget to bring toys.
Help us make a difference this Christmas. Visit kidstoKidstoydrive.com.
My overall experience with Gruber Law Offices has been phenomenal.
The treatment was excellent.
They will be supportive of you. They will listen to you.
It was a great experience knowing that I had people to help me.
I know I could count on them to do what I needed to get done.
Experience with Gruber was great.
They gave me my life back.
It was amazing.
He gets results.
We know how to win. If you've been injured, call Gruber Law Offices. 1 call, that's all.
Gruber Law Offices had my best interests at heart.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
LT says, some white people do not want to see black people around. And I have to say some because someone somewhere will get offended. I don't mean all white people. But once you are there, they have no problem asking you how you got there, and they want you to spill the tea. I've been in business, LT says, for almost a year. Many of your listeners have come to my pizza shop. Some white people have come to my shop and asked me trade secrets, not even hiding the fact that they work for a competitor, when my answer is that would be my business or it's a trade secret. They act all offended. And LT says mediocrity breeds complacency. Halloween is an excellent example of mediocrity if you have to dress up as a slut or of the magnificence of another culture. You are mediocre. Kim G asked what a DEI hire is, and I responded to her via text, diversity, equity, and inclusion, but they use it as a slur because they wonder why a non-white person is in a certain position. So an example would be Tulsi Gabbard. It might have been from her parody account. I'm not sure because I can't even tell on Twitter. It's not Twitter. It's called X. It's either way. I hate it. I don't even know why I'm on there. I'm throttled on Twitter. You guys know what that means? That means that because of what I post, they limit who can see my post. Because I'll be posting some golden stuff on Twitter, and it doesn't get any views, so I'm throttled. It's this thing that they do when they try and stifle someone's political opinions, and because X is owned by Elon Musk and he's a Trumper, I clearly am not a Trumper, so when I post things that might be anti-Trump or anti-conservative, I get throttled. What is this here? Oh, so the Tulsi Gabbard parody account, it shows her about to board a flight, and she's like, "Oh, I hope the pilot is not a DEI hire," meaning she hopes the pilot isn't black because black people can never be qualified to fly planes, which is interesting because Tulsi Gabbard has been tapped to be like the national security advisor or something, and she's a woman. Like, women are DEI hires too, Tulsi. Thank you, Marcel. The Department of Government Efficiency. Isn't that what the Government Accountability Federal Office does? The GAO, don't they provide like cost estimates of how much different programs are going to cost? So when they say, oh, a program is going to cost $3 trillion over 10 years, or the GAO, I think they might provide information to Congress. D. Wood said, "Get Bob off the radio." Jean said, "Bob is really bobbing today." Bobbing is a verb, by the way. So if somebody is bobbing, then they're just kind of going on and on and on about stuff that doesn't make sense to anybody but them. Speaking of which, let's talk to Lisa. You're on 101.7 The Truth.
Well, you had to answer my call when I'm trying to struggle to get this shower on. But anyway, good morning, Truth Nation. How you doing, my love?
What is it, Lisa?
Hi, Sharon. Hi, third country America. Trump just made this a third country. It's not number one anymore. China is. That's why he's putting those tariffs off.
We haven't been number one in a long. Like, Germany had been number one since like Obama was in office. We haven't been number one.
You got to tell Americans that, because they got to believe in Americans are number one. But, you know, China leads in technology. Did you see their cars? Oh, my gosh. You know, you pay with your hand now. You don't pay with credit cards. You just going to put your hand on the little zipper thing, and you're all done. China is so far in the future. It's freaking ridiculous. Oh, guess what? Africa. Now they're working on South Africa. They want to take – look, y'all better wake up. If we come together, do you know what we could do in Africa? You got to realize they say black people don't have nothing. We ain't smart. We ain't this and that. But yet you get all your resources, the oil, the diamonds, the gold, the tea, the coffee. You get all that from Africa. You get your herbs and things from Africa to stay alive. Come on. Think about it, people. We have to come together. It's going to be a point. Let them go ahead and do a mass deportation. Get rid of the Mexicans, the Venezuelans, whatever it may be, Haiti's, whatever. Then they're going to start working on the blacks. But then they're going to come to a point that, well, we can't get rid of the blacks. How do we keep them here? What they're going to start doing is, well, now it's about $1,600 to $1,700 to fly to Africa, round trip. They're going to make it so that you can't afford it. So that's the way they're going to keep us here. If we don't catch up and over, because see, right now we get our eyes on America. America this, America that, Trump. But you're not looking at the whole picture. You're not. And I see, Sherwin, you may whatever, but I'm very, knowledgeable in a lot of things. I'm not in politics, but yeah, I have to watch them. I have to pay attention. They're very entertaining. So, like I stated, I'm going to Africa. I'm going to look over things.
When are you leaving?
Go buy some
when are you leaving, Lisa?
I don't know. I talked to my brother. I said,
all right.
hey,
how about this? Can you tell us when you're leaving? Call us and tell us when you're going to be gone to Africa.
I will, sure.
Okay, just curious. All right, then. All right.
Okay, I love you.
All right.
I love
you. All right, then. Okay, just wondering when she's going to go. Sherman, you're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
I'm all right. How you doing today?
I'm good. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to tell you something today. Thank you. Hey, I wanted to tell you something that was funny that happened to me about it's close to 20 years ago. I've been out of prison going on 20 years. I had filled out this job application at a place called Twisted Fork.
Oh, I remember
to
that
wash
place.
dishes.
On the east side.
Yeah. On the east side. They had the nerve to turn me down to wash dishes because I was a convicted felon. Yeah. But we got a president that's been accused of that's been convicted of sexual assault and 34 felonies. What you think I was going to do? Steal the dishes? I was going to wash them too good? And there's some black folks that voted for him. It's a crazy thing. You got a person that's 34 felonies on his record, and they turned me down for washing dishes. It's America, ain't it? It's I don't know. I guess
you
it's
get the
land of
last
opportunity
laugh, Sherman, because Twisted Fork went out of business.
Yeah, that turned me down for washing dishes, and they had the nerve to put it down on the reason. Yeah, I'm convicted of it. As if I'm in the back. I don't know what else I can do. That's all I wanted to say, bro.
Thank you for sharing that with us, and you were better than washing dishes at the Twisted Fork. Had he got the dishwashing job at the Twisted Fork, he'd have been out of work eventually anyway, because they done went out of business. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 3.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
1017 The Truth and Associated Bank have teamed up for our Black-owned business give back. Each quarter, we'll be giving away $6,000 worth of free commercial advertising for 3 months to 5 Black businesses. To sign up for your business's chance to win $6,000 of commercial campaign marketing on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, visit blackbusinessgiveback.com. That's blackbusinessgiveback.com. Let's rebuild our community's backbone through exposure on the truth. For official rules, head to blackbusinessgiveback.com. Associated Bank, member FDIC.
Thank you to Associated Bank for being a founding partner of the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Together, we are committed to uplifting local organizations and supporting Black-owned businesses. So make sure you tune into Jammin' with Juice on Thanksgiving Day and Black Friday as we speak with Black-owned businesses about their journeys through entrepreneurship and encourage you to support local small businesses on Saturday, November 30th for Small Business Saturday. Whatever your financial needs are, Associated Bank can help. Member FDIC.
Truth Nation, let us talk our ish for a moment. There is no other station in the country where you get a front row seat to hear from some of the biggest names in politics, pop culture, and sports. People like Vice President Kamala Harris.
Talk with your listeners to remind them of their power and the importance of voting. And the folks in Milwaukee turned out for me and Joe Biden in 2020. You showed what was possible.
U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, are you a racist?
Absolutely not.
Is Donald Trump a racist?
Absolutely not. No.
And civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump.
Thank you all for speaking truth to power. That's the most important thing, because right now there are those in our community who would rather we just be quiet.
Right.
We have to disturb the peace now more than ever.
Tap into the award-winning and nationally recognized 1017 The Truth by downloading the Truth app and streaming us live at 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Milwaukee Black Talk.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
America's hunters and target shooters, along with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, have invested more than $46 billion to help state fish and wildlife agencies manage and protect wildlife and wildlands across America. For more information, visit outdoorstewards.org.
Listen to the home of the 5K Gruber Cash Giveaway. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. As promised, I'm going to do a deep dive into exactly what is white culture. It's not devoid of things. It actually consists of a number of things, but it's often under-examined. It's not held to a high standard, and therefore its mediocrity can become status quo. So there's an organization of, I'm going to call them, I suppose, liberal or progressive white people that are somewhat ashamed of the fact that white people tend to shy away from analyzing themselves, mostly because of what may be revealed. That's also why they want to remove history from schools and they're banning books. Isn't that insane in a country that prides itself on its freedoms and its liberties, especially of the press and free expression, that they don't want certain books in certain schools because it will teach history in chronological order? And anything that may hold whiteness, not white people, individual white people are sometimes naive because the history they have been fed just props them up and lets them know that they're special and they created everything and they built everything and they revolutionized the world. No, they colonized and they stole. But you can't tell them that because that would be mean. No, don't say that, Sherwin. You're being mean. So this is an organization called the Center for the Study of White American Culture. I'm not kidding you. It's a real organization. And I'm going to read what they have on, what page is this? This is their Let's Recognize White American Culture page, okay? It says white people in the United States share a common history of immigration from Europe and assimilation into the United States society. As a group, it says we share. I'm going to read it as they wrote it, not reading it as I'm saying it. Does that make sense? Okay. As a group, I'll use the pronoun. Whites share a common language, a common understanding of normative values, aesthetic preferences, and many other things. In other words, white people share culture. Sure, individual stories and preferences may differ, and there is great variety in the experiences of white Americans, but that is true of people in any culture. The larger picture is that white people share a cultural experience. You wouldn't know it if you asked a white person. Most white Americans deny that white American culture even exists. Instead, white people claim to be just plain Americans, as if their cultural experience is identical, for instance, to that of African Americans, Native Americans, or Latinos. Still, white people share some things, many things, but there are significant differences in history, heritage, and shared values as well. Some white Americans claim their culture, the original heritage of this European. Some white Americans claim as their culture the original heritage of the European country or countries from whence their ancestors came. This makes sense for first or second generation white Americans, but the vast majority of white Americans have been here much longer than that. Often they're a mix of many ancestral national origins. Whites can't speak the original languages, and they have no meaningful relationships with those who remained in Europe. More likely, whites have gone through generations of assimilation in the United States, and the culture of the United States gives white people their language, their customs, and their values. But again, it's not simply, quote, American culture. White experience has been more constricted by race, and the historic process of cultural formation has taken place along those racial lines. Today, this can be as obvious as the music people listen to, the movies and TV programs they watch, and the food they eat. Yes, again, individuals make individual choices, and some people prefer the cultural experiences of others. There is a fair amount of fusion and crossover activity taking place, but the larger fact remains. White Americans have a culture and have a shared cultural experience. So why don't white people recognize that? And why is it important that they should? Then it goes on to say, let's be real. One important reason to recognize white American culture is because it exists. White Americans as a group basically control what's going on in the United States. And so their culture sets the United States norms. In fact, it's one and the same process. Those who set the norms control what's going on, and those who control what is going on set the norms. This is why white people think of themselves as just Americans. Their culture defines what American means. Even the meaning of being American differs depending upon how one has been racialized. It's not uncommon for a country to have a central and normative culture. People from that culture often have difficulty recognizing how their culture shapes other people's lives. It works for them, and they don't think about it. But there is more to it in the United States. White Americans have not lived in the United States for thousands of years, developing a culture organically through their indigenous presence. Whites are relative newcomers, and their culture is a fairly new creation. As that development took place, whites created conditions in which, quote, our country, their country, holds a significant population of people of African heritage, as well as Latino heritage, Asian heritage, etc. Native Americans, of course, have been here all along. So whites' central culture is not so much of a natural organic development, but rather one significantly shaped by historical and political events of conquest and control. It used to be that white Americans understood this. They talked openly about the white man's culture. Nowadays, whites take explicit recognition of white American culture as upholding the white supremacist notions of a bygone era. The irony is that failing to name and discuss white American culture upholds the latent white supremacy that continues to exist in the United States. Refraining from the naming white American culture allows white Americans to feel like they are the normal right people and everyone else is an other. When white American culture is allowed to operate unnamed, it is shielded from examination and public discussion. This renders white people unable to have a national discussion on things like race, racism, white privilege, and the creation of a society centered on multiracial values. Whiteness continues to remain unexamined and supreme. White American culture is the native culture of many people, at least some want to claim it. Today, they must gravitate to white supremacist groups as their only path to acceptance, but that should not have to be the case. It's time that white Americans learn to name and accept their own culture. The reason they have not is because it contains a lot of baggage. As mentioned earlier, the culture was formed in a multiracial setting through assertion of their dominance and control, often by brutal means directed toward others. Nowadays, it is considered impolite to continue to explicitly enforce central culture of dominance. We've become a multicultural nation, or so we believe. White American culture upholds norms of colorblindness, a philosophy that both refuses to name white American culture and assures that white American culture will remain the dominant culture in America. In fact, it's the main reason why white Americans are reluctant to name their own culture. Why be, quote, white American when you can just be an American? Works well, if not better. Whites get to assert an identity American and protect their white privileges by making it taboo to discuss white American culture and undermine people of other racial or cultural groups, playing the race card when they try to discuss it. And it says, we as white people can have our cake and eat it too. Let's talk to Miss Rose. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
Well, it's just a coincidence. I said talking about something that I was discussing after a funeral that I attended yesterday, and one of the things that I was sharing was about whiteness and blackness are separate entities of thought processes, but that doesn't represent the white people or the black people. Whiteness and blackness have. I agree with that. What was stated, I think that was great. Whoever wrote that, I'd like to try to read it myself, but it tells the truth about how, as individual cultures, they were too small. So the only thing they had in common was their external color, and that was whiteness that would separate them from anyone who was not white. And all these things with what is stated is so true. And whiteness, basically when I was sharing with the people, that whiteness is negative and blackness is positive. Whiteness deals with hatred, blackness deals with love, but not whiteness is what some white people have of a negativity. Not all white people, and blackness is what some black people have, but not all black people. But when I separate those two of a entity of expression, whiteness and blackness are something that should be eliminated when it comes to negativity and only maintained when it comes to positivity. And this is why I call whiteness a negative of hatred and everything that exists of negativity, and blackness of a positive nature, that when those two are clashing, all the other stuff are externals of those two clashes. But the thing is, people either accept parts here and there, or they reject parts of here and there. Inferiority complex seems to be the big criteria that causes whiteness to be what it does, and the fact blackness is the part of love that's hard to overcome because of the economic that's pushed on and taken away from blacks to keep them from becoming economically as white people have become. And it's all a complex of a mix, what you call a bowl of pudding, or a mix of bowl of variety of all entities of thought processes. Did you kind of understand what I was trying to say?
Absolutely. In fact, I couldn't have said it better myself. That was actually perfect, the way you said that. That was very good and perfect. Very perfect.
Thank you, dear. And I like to share whenever I can. It's food for thought.
Oh,
have a blessed day.
All right, you too. That was perfect. You know how she said the stuff she said? Should have wrote that down. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com. The Cream City Challenge is here. On Friday night, the Milwaukee Panthers return home to take on the Portland State Vikings.
Underneath, Pullian is bumped, scored on a foul from no-foot range. KP, he's the guy that Bart Lundy said was as locked in as anybody in the prep, in the scout, and it has certainly looked that way here tonight.
Scott Warris has the coverage Friday starting at 6:30 p.m. on 101.7 The Truth and the Milwaukee Panthers Sports Network from Learfield. Tip-off happens at 7 o'clock.
The Empowerment Small Business Loan Program, we're talking about up to $5 million, which for small business owners, we need that. That's like payroll, that's resources. So can you just let us know, what is the program and why is this lending program so important to Old National Bank?
Years ago, our CEO, Jim Ryan, this program is his brainchild. He was working with Roland Shelton, who you know, Denise, out of Evansville, and they identified that African-American business owners, Hispanic business owners, Native American business owners, as well as women business owners had a difficult time in obtaining financing from the traditional credit partners. And so we went out, created a program, launched it last year, 2023. And so far last year, we have helped over 100 successful minority and women-owned businesses with about $25 million in loans. We've already started this year with almost $8 million in approvals, again, geared toward minority business owners and women business owners that normally had difficulties in obtaining traditional credit finance.
Are you or anyone you know looking to open a small business or learn the industry? Attend the City of Milwaukee 9th District Business Conference November 21st from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ross Innovative Employment Solutions. Brought to you by Milwaukee 9th District Alderwoman Larissa Taylor, helping you take your next steps towards financial empowerment. Sponsored by Alderwoman Larissa Taylor of the 9th District of the City of Milwaukee. City of Milwaukee, Granville, BID, Ross Innovative Employment Solutions.
It's 101.7 The Truth's Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Don't spend another winter shivering at home with wind howling through your windows. Take advantage of this deal from Pella. No interest, no payments for 12 months. Keep your home comfortable and save on energy bills thanks to customizable windows and doors from Pella. Pella can design them to look like they've been a part of your home throughout its history. Visit PellaWI.com today. Certain restrictions apply. Ends 11/30 of 2024.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
All right, I got some key findings here. Black Americans thrive the most in the District of Columbia. Washington, D.C. ranks in the top 3 of 5 metrics. Black householders in the D.C. metro area have a median household income of $82,045, with 40.5% earning $100,000 or more. Meanwhile, 37.2% of black adults 25 and older in D.C. have a bachelor's degree or higher. Black residents in Austin, Texas finished about second, while Provo, Utah, and Poughkeepsie, New York tie for third. Never would have guessed those places. 2 California metro areas lead 3 of 5 lists by metric, despite not being in the top 5 overall. San Jose, California, and Oxnard, California finished 1 and 2 in the income and education-based metrics, but San Jose's bottom 10% home ownership rate and Oxnard's middle-of-the-pack unemployment rate among black residents pushed the metros to number 12 and number 6 overall, respectively. Black Americans thrive the least in Toledo, Ohio. Toledo ranks in the bottom 4 of 5 metrics. Black householders in the Toledo metro area have a median household income of $31,106. That's the lowest among the 100 metros analyzed. It also has the third lowest percentage of black households earning $100,000 or 8.6%, and percentages of black adults 25 and older with a bachelor's degree at 14.8%, and the fourth worst unemployment rate among black Americans at 13.6%. Black residents in Syracuse, New York, and Scranton, Pennsylvania joined the bottom 3 overall. Before I get to the absolute worst places in the nation for black people, there's a specific reason why African Americans who live in and around D.C., and D.C. is a whole metro area, which is Virginia and Maryland. It's the whole area surrounding that corridor, D.C. Metro. A lot of our employment comes from working in the federal government and contracts associated with federal departments. A lot of African-American entrepreneurs get contracts with the Department of Defense, the Pentagon, providing services and goods to a large federal government. So now you start to understand why Donald Trump wants to cut $2 trillion out of the federal budget, which he can't. He can't do that. Can't do it. Even if you fired most of the government employees, you're only looking at like 1 or 2% of the whole federal budget. Because they're saying, oh, we're going to save all this money by firing federal employees. No, you're not. Federal government would collapse without its employees in certain departments, especially because the department heads that Donald Trump is selecting are mediocre at best, sexual predators at worst. But there's a reason why African Americans have excelled in government employment, federal government employment specifically. I can look at my family as an example. Both of my parents worked for the post office. They came up to Milwaukee, and they had a couple of odd jobs, like my mother worked at Walgreens, and my dad, who knows where he worked. But they ultimately, my mother was 19, my dad was in his early 20s when they started working at the post office. The post office is federal. It's a federal agency. And there's a reason why African Americans in the D.C. metro area, because Washington, D.C. obviously is the seat of the American Republic, and there's all sorts of government employment and contracting opportunities. That's because the federal government was the first to create affirmative action to make sure that African Americans, who are federal taxpayers, could get jobs in and around the federal government. Because they took discrimination out of the ranks of federal employment. My parents worked for the federal government, and I even worked for a member of Congress, also considered the federal government. So whenever you dismantle discrimination, you open up possibilities for black people. But where it remains, we stay shut out, and this allows white mediocrity to persist. And one thing that we have to do, and this is for all people, do not confuse white averageness with excellent. Sometimes white averageness doesn't know how to act or doesn't know how to react in the face of black excellence. They always want to make up an excuse as to why it happened, or there had to been some weird combination of events or something. And in other cases, they try and take credit for it, but they don't know how to deal with it. In fact, it's quite embarrassing for them. So at some point, they begin to hate it. because it's threatening. How on earth, when you think about it practically, how on earth can black people become successful in areas, in jobs, in vocations, and in fields where white people are supposed to dominate? They're like, how did they slip through the cracks? And then they become adversarial. Then they want to point out where it's not successful enough and where it's not perfect. Or they diminish black success. Some kind of way, they find a way to do it. Instead of improving their own game, they try and tear down black success because they're intimidated by it. And they should be, because when you got to keep this in mind, y'all, and most of us can't relate to this. Most non-white people can't relate to this. Everything in this country is theirs. Everything. The institutions, the government, the land, the banks, all the money, name it. And if they wanted it, they took it. And if they had to kill Native Americans, they killed them. If they had to have manifest destiny and just keep spreading all the way to the Pacific Ocean, they did it. And they told the history and this valiant story of their bravery of how they just controlled everything, and America belongs to them. There is a narcissism that is built into it. And I think that's the part that a lot of us non-white folks have an issue with. It's the narcissism that is built into whiteness. They just think that they're the best at everything, even when they're not. Trump is the perfect example of that. At best, he's mediocre. He just had a whole bunch of money. So people that have a whole bunch of money can suck at everything. I don't know if y'all know that. Money can be the perfect excuse because you can be terrible, a bad human being, not very smart, very low IQ. But if you have money in this country, especially if you have a lot of it, people just assume that you're very intelligent, that you're better than the rest of us. Trump didn't even make his money. He inherited the money and squandered most of it. So I could see if someone created something, they invented something. There's a whole bunch of white people that created stuff and invented stuff too. Black people, we've also created and invented things, but they oftentimes took credit for it. I could see if you did something innovative and revolutionary, if you changed the course of history with something that you invented. Sure, that would make sense. But if you just inherited a bunch of money, you can be awful at everything, but you have money as a fallback. And because we're so capitalist in this country, we look up to people that have money. We want to find out how we can be like them. And Donald Trump took full advantage of that. You tell me where he excels. Where is he stellar, other than lying to people? Other than being married and having a whole bunch of baby mamas? What is he good at? What policy has he created? You can't name it. I'm not going to ask all that question because that's a stupid question. Because here's the thing. He's so mediocre, he doesn't even have to have any accomplishments. His political accomplishments basically are firing people and not going to prison because he won an election is going to be able to acquit himself. And now all the other judges are now essentially postponing all of his sentencing and all of his trials. That's what he's good at. But I would argue that's all stuff that he's good at for him. Those are not things that can be any kind of benefit to the American people. I would ask you to explain it to me, but I know it's going to fall on deaf ears. How does Donald Trump getting elected president and him now being able to evade prosecution and being held responsible for the things he did, how does that benefit you? Because guess what? You can't do that. You can't get away with what he got away with. You can't go grab a woman by her lady bits. You don't believe me? Well, now I would tell you to try it, but don't grab a lady by her lady bits unless she offers them to you on a platter. Some women do. They will. They'll tell you to grab the lady bits. Only grab her lady bits in a consensual situation. And some of you may need to know what a consensual situation is. Let me give you an example of a consensual situation where you can grab lady bits. Donald Trump just says, hey, when you're famous, you can just grab the lady bits. He can grab them. Most of you cannot do that. Unless she okays, signs off on, gives a stamp of approval to you grabbing her lady bits. Okay? All y'all listen up. Ricky, you too. She'll say something like, well, these lady bits ain't gonna grab themselves. She'll say something like that. Or she'll She'll guide your hand. Why are you adjusting your microphone like you got something to say in this discussion?
I do got something to say. I don't have them type of problems with women.
You shouldn't. You're a committed man.
I'm to who?
Don't you have a lady?
No.
Oh.
No. I'm you.
No, hell to hell, no, you ain't.
Yeah, I'm
you live with a woman.
No, the what? You almost made me say something. I almost lost character.
Since when do you not? I thought you lived with that lady.
No.
Who you live with?
I live by myself.
Oh.
I pay my own bills. Everything's in my name. Grown man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're an adult. That's good to know. All right.
Something that I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, you know, some men out here is, I ain't got it it's in my girl name, but So, but no, I don't have those type of problems with women. I usually let women make the first move. Because most women know what they already want to do with you or the idea of what they want. So it's just best to make them the first move, let them make the first move, in my opinion.
All right, that's your motto. That's how you operate. You let them make the first move.
Mm-hmm.
What if they don't? Then no moves get made at all?
No. Then that's when you start to like kind of see where this is going. Like, so you make a little move here and there, a little gesture, or a little touching of the shoulder or the knee, or ask for a hug, something like that. You don't want to force it, what I'm saying? Because you don't want to come out as a creep or a weirdo.
That's right.
So, but in all reality, most women make the first move. Women know what they want.
Do they?
Women are the most smartest people in the world.
Oh, wow. Okay, Rick. That's dating advice from Rick. Are you currently seeing anybody, or are you just out there living your best life?
A little bit of both. And the reason I say that is because I don't have the time to date. And I also tell people, when you are dating, when you're in a relationship, that's just another bill, because you have to lead, you have to cater to your girl, to your relationship, all that is an extra utility bill. A relationship is nothing but a utility bill.
You got the phones lit up with this nonsense. Okay?
I'm just saying, do you not agree that a relationship is an extra bill?
No, if I'm in a relationship, my outlay of money probably matches hers, or I'm getting whatever I'm buying, I am getting things in return and fulfillment from that relationship, things that money can't buy, right? So if I take her out to dinner, she may cook. We may go out to the movies. Next week, we go see a movie she wants to see. It all kind of balances out.
I mean, that's fine, but, I'm in my bag right now. My bag is deep and heavy right now, and I just feel like being in a relationship, half of that money gotta go towards that. It's another extra utility bill. That's all.
And depends on the women that you're dating, though, too.
That too. Some women like 100% men. Some women want to go 50-50. It all do depend on the woman that you're dating.
Sure. No, it does. Yeah.
But for the most part, I don't even have the time to even be in a relationship, because either I'm here at the station doing something, or I'm being a dad, or I'm being a DJ.
Oh, fair enough. That makes sense. So, and I don't want to speak for myself, because I'm not going down the road of Sherwin talking about dating, because they all get mad. And then, of course, Al calls, which he's on line 1 right now. Because of the specific characteristics that I look for in a woman, if she doesn't have them, I'm not going to waste her time or mine. Like, nobody gets offended. I'm just not going to. If it ain't there, it ain't there. If she doesn't meet certain requirements. And likewise for women, right? If men don't meet certain requirements, a woman is not going to waste her time. Because of the specific things that I look for, these women, they already have money. And then when they have money and they're accomplished, they're not, you have to pay for everything. They're just as content paying as a man would be when he thinks he needs to pay to win a woman's attention. Women don't want a broke man. Why would she? Because that means she is going to be financially responsible for this man. If he's a grown adult, she shouldn't be. I don't want a broke woman for the exact same reason, because I don't prove who I am from how much money I can spend. All I'm doing is supplementing her lack of income. But because I want to date women that are smarter than me, they have money because they have monetized their intelligence. So money to them is just something that comes along with them already being intelligent and very well accomplished. And money has a different meaning once you've earned it, especially once you are beyond mid-career. Like, money just comes along with it. Money is not even, I have money. I go on vacations. I pay this. I go buy this. Oh, if I want this, I go get it. If I'm hungry, I go eat. I go eat at whatever restaurant I want. It's just a part of the lifestyle. It's not to be pedestalized. Because if you're good at what you do, and if you love what you do, and if you've earned a living and created a lifestyle based upon what you do, then the people that you add to your life are also a part of that lifestyle based upon you having a living and making money off of what you love. It might sound complicated, but it's actually quite simple. So, have I taken women on dates before? Sure, because I'm a nice guy, but gets old after a while, because if you go on 3 dates and those relationships or those dates don't turn into anything, you did waste money. And you can say, it was for the experience. I would have rather saved the money and not had the experience. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
At UW Credit Union, our home loans have everything you need for your next big step, including up to $750 off closing costs for all home buyers. And first-time buyers can save even more. So if you're ready to trade roomies for more room, or your townhome for an out-of-town home, UW Credit Union will be with you from start to furnished. UW Credit Union. Apply online today. Equal housing lender. Credit may be limited as required by program. Visit uwcu.org for details.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 1017 The Truth. Here is Dr. Ken Harris with his truth.
An integrated strategy, including infrastructure, community involvement, education, enforcement, and legislative reforms. Yeah, we've kind of heard that before already. It can correct pretty much anything, right? They use it for everything except reckless driving in Milwaukee. I want you to consider this now. Expand the number of police officers in neighborhoods where reckless driving is happening, punish with fines, extended license suspensions, use speed and red light cameras. We need to inform people about the repercussions of reckless driving, and then we need to follow through with punishment. We need to continue to build speed bumps, roundabouts, narrow the lanes to help traffic slow down, and while you're at it, designate some space for bicycles and pedestrians only. We need to encourage the use of mobile apps to report reckless driving since you're on your phone anyway. And finally, promote local and state legislation that successfully combats irresponsible driving. Yeah, we've heard that before, but no. Just enforce the laws we already have on the books. And by combining this, Milwaukee drivers can enjoy a safe environment that lowers reckless driving, all the risks that come with it. Why? Well, this needs to be the Common Council and the city's primary focus. So perhaps next time there won't be that, dead on arrival traffic bill in Milwaukee Common Council or that traffic bill in state legislature. But then if you're driving, you might want to be careful. The next thing that's dead on arrival could be you.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 1017 The Truth. Listen to The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris, weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Happy kids heal faster, and that's why Starlight is dedicated to improving the mental well-being of sick kids across the U.S. Learn how at starlight.org.
Gruber Law Offices, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I think the actual explanation for why white folks could be so miserably wrong
about racism, even when it was obvious. The reason we could be so oblivious is not because we're unfeeling, uncaring, or stupid, unable to see. It's because of something far more sinister and far more difficult to get at, which is this: to be white in 1963 or in 1962, or I would dare say in 2011, is not to have to know any better. Right? I don't have to know any better. I don't have to know what people of color experience. If I don't know what people of color experience in my community where we all live, what happens to me? Absolutely nothing. It's not going to be on the test, is it? And by that, I mean whatever test you got to take to get into college, to get out of college, to get any kind of professional certification, you're not going to have to demonstrate that you know anything about the experiences of people of color if you're white. If you want to go be a physician in a community of color, provide health care to people of color, or be a teacher in a community of color, are you going to have to demonstrate that you know the first thing about those people's culture, background, community, or history with the health care delivery or educational delivery systems in order to get those jobs? No, you will not. In very few cases would you have to. In fact, people will pat you on the back, won't they, for being willing to go do that work. Why, that's so noble. You're going to go work in an underserved community. That's a nice passive word. Underserved. You know? Underprivileged. That's another word, right? What is that? Well, that's like my third grade teacher. That was the passive voice, right? Underprivileged. Nobody did anything to anybody. Just there's privilege, and there you are under it. And we have no idea how you got down there, nor are we interested in asking.
Tim Wise, Professor Tim Wise. I highly suggest you follow him on social media. Let's talk to Al. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. What I was going to say, if you're dating, maybe, whoever you date, try to match their energy, because nobody is better than anybody. And I was going to say every man and every woman serve a purpose. From the age of 90 to 84 to 72 down to 45, and even if you got two on the side, one that's 18 and 24. Everybody serves a purpose. Just be honest and maybe be a sophisticated ratchet in who you're dealing with, which means he or she will know your terms and conditions. So when it does come to that, time of the day when everybody, after they work, they didn't shave, shower, sugar, honey, iced tea, and they ready to let their hair down and everybody good and clean out, that means the OCHing is euphoric. You know what OCHing is? Do you know what that is?
No. Should I know what it is?
It's on-call home, and that's when somebody say, hey, why don't you come over here and, fill this chocolate cupcake up, or, put some sugar on these yams.
What's it called again, Al? What's it called?
On-call hoeing. Everybody does it. Like on the weekends, it's Friday night. You say, well, let me call somebody up, and they be like, well, baby, I'm good and I'm ready. Why don't you roll on through? So you get nice and fresh and everything. Some people go commando, and when you get there, y'all already know what y'all need to do. You put all the sugar, honey, iced tea aside. And then the other thing is, everybody has a happy ending at the end, and when you're done, nobody should be asking to borrow any money, because everybody has fulfilled that undescribable feeling that has no real definition. And sometimes you go back for more. But all I can say is just, live your life. And don't get caught up on the labels and trying to outdo somebody, because when you try to compete, you go on it with a different mindset. You're only going to deliver, collect, and that's it. And, get it all out. So I just wanted to call and share that information. Just do you. If you're single, you can't be a hoe, but we all OCH. Just like this weekend is coming, it's going to be a whole lot of OCH. Just make sure you smell good, look good, or make sure you keep a fanny pack in your car. Some mouthwash, toothbrush, soap, and a towel, because, you might be doing them whole baths while you're running in between. And make sure you keep the 2 bananas to replace your electrolytes, because that potassium will kick you right back up, just in case for some of y'all who might not can get it up, and, y'all might need that extra 20, 30 minutes, but you can keep that motor running. So I just wanted to share that with you. And please do not use that honey pack. That honey pack don't work, and Viagra don't work. If you good with your mental, you will stand right up. Y'all have yourself a good day, by the way. Bye-bye.
Don't. No fanny pack. No whole bath. No. Everybody's not on call hoeing. No, don't do that. Why would he say those things? I'm trying to have a discussion today about mediocre whiteness.
Do you have a hoe bag?
No.
You don't have a hoe bag?
No.
Do you?
A hoe bag? No.
Yes.
You know, I'm Sherwin Hughes. I don't have a hoe bag.
You know what a hoe bag is.
No, I do not know what a hoe bag is.
Hoe bags and hotels.
I got a house. With bedrooms.
Oh, so they come over there. You don't need a hoe bag.
Don't worry about what I do. Everybody trying to be, you want to be in my business. I'm a radio host, and I host a radio show.
It's okay.
Talk about that. Don't worry about it.
Need love too, Craig.
Y'all see me outside sometime. I'm going to tell you what, if y'all see me outside, and if I'm not by myself, mind your business.
You know I'm going to say something. You know I'm going to say something. You know I'm going to come up. Hey.
Rick, you and I will never be in the same place. Never.
Okay.
Because if they let you in, I'm like, well, I can't be here no more. They let anybody in, any kind of riffraff.
I'm not just anybody. I know some people in tight places too now.
Oh, good God. Can I give people a chance to win the $5,000, Rick?
You sure can, Sherwin.
Okay, thank you. You got to play the David Gruber sound effect. Otherwise, it's not real. You want me to do it? One call.
I like when you do it. Go ahead.
No, play the David Gruber listens to the show when he gets mad. Sherwin, you didn't play my sound effect. You know how David Gruber talks. You should have it.
One call.
There you go.
That's all.
Truth Nation, now's your chance to be our one call. That's all 5K giveaway entry for the day. That's right. You can be entered to win $5,000 courtesy of the Gruber Law Offices. We'll take call number 5 at 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017, and you will be entered to win the $5,000 giveaway with the award-winning 1017 The Truth and Gruber Law Offices. Again, call number 5 at 833-212-1017. Remember, if you or a loved one has been injured in an accident, contact Gruber Law Offices today. You can visit them at gruber-law.com. For official contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com. Call number 5. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The Truth app is home for all the Milwaukee Panther content you would want.
He'll dart baseline, and he will tomahawk it home with his right hand.
From conversations on the airwaves.
We're going to defend every board up the floor and every bounce and every pass. And we've got good depth, and you have to have good depth for the way we play.
To game highlights.
And at the top, rises for three over Young and buries it.
Find The Roar on the Truth app, Apple, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts to keep up with Panthers hoops.
What are some of the things that we need to really focus on to get our fair share of these opportunities, i.e. access to capital?
You know, it's very important to always think about building a strong business plan, understanding the financial parameters around what you're trying to accomplish, building great networks and great relationships so you can have partnerships and building out your dream. And then finding a good financial partner like Old National to help really orchestrate your vision of the organization. And then, as you know, DT, you wouldn't be where you're at because you're phenomenal, doing great work. And then you have to really have to go to work. If you have that dream, you have that vision, the business plan, the financial piece, then you have to really work at it and keep building.
Learn more about the Old National Bank Small Business Empowerment Loan by visiting oldnational.com/small business or contact a small business banker at Old National Bank.
Are you or anyone you know looking to open a small business or learn the industry? Attend the City of Milwaukee 9th District Business Conference November 21st from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ross Innovative Employment Solutions. Brought to you by Milwaukee 9th District Alderwoman Larissa Taylor, helping you take your next steps towards financial empowerment. Sponsored by Alderwoman Larissa Taylor of the 9th District of the City of Milwaukee. City of Milwaukee, Granville, BID, Ross Innovative Employment Solutions.
Tired of having to decline food at a potluck where you don't know where the food came from?
Don't you let your cats on your kitchen counters?
Host your next holiday with Shawnee's Exquisite Catering, now booking holiday office and corporate parties, or perhaps a private chef for your intimate family holiday gathering, or add to your Thanksgiving meal. Pick up sides such as Southern-style cornbread dressing, candied yams, baked macaroni and cheese, collard greens, and more. And for desserts, peach cobbler and sweet potato pie. Connect on Facebook or Instagram, Shawnee's Exquisite Catering, or call 414-216-3469.
Ready to glow? RN2 Go Medical Services has you covered. With a top-notch team, including a skilled RN and medical doctor, they offer personalized treatments just for you. Feel fantastic with exceptional post-op care, invigorating IV hydration therapy, and vitamin injections. Enjoy advanced skincare, effective weight loss programs, and beauty enhancements like Botox, fillers, and PDO threads. Rejuvenate with PRP therapy and sculpt your dream body with cutting-edge body sculpting treatments. Why wait? Visit DestinationAestheticsMKE.com now to book your appointment. Your new radiant self is just a click away.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Entrepreneurs, could you use $10,000 to start or grow your business? The Wisconsin Black Chamber is hosting its third Thursday networking event featuring the pitch competition, and that's going to be, tonight, actually. Thursday, November 21st, at the Rain Event Lounge at 231 East Buffalo in the 3rd Ward. Be there at 5 o'clock to register to compete. Registration ends at 5:15. This is the last chance to qualify for the finale in December. First prize is $10,000 for your business. Second place is $7,000 for your business. Third place is $3,000. Don't miss out. That's tonight at the Rain Event Lounge at 231 East Buffalo. What is this here? It look like duplicates, Rick. They're all the same. It's College Month in the award-winning 1017 The Truth. We want your scholar to get a bunch of scholarship dollars. Where my Paul Hardcastle at? Give me some Paul Hardcastle underneath this. It sounds sexier. All month long, we will be highlighting local universities who offer full tuition scholarships and local organizations who help students find thousands of dollars in scholarships every year. You want me to play the Paul Hardcastle? There you go. So be sure to tune in to The Truth all month long so you don't miss this important information on how your student can go to college and be debt-free. College Scholarship Month on The Truth is sponsored by Concordia University of Wisconsin, Live Uncommon, and Educators Credit Union, Achieving More Together. And thank you to Associated Bank for being a founding partner of the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Together, we are committed to uplifting local organizations and supporting Black-owned businesses. Be sure to tune in to Jammin' with Juice on Thanksgiving Day and Black Friday as they interview entrepreneurs and encourage you to buy local on Small Business Saturday. Whatever your financial needs are, Associated Bank can help. Member FDIC. Buy black on Small Business Saturday. Are they working? Are y'all working on Thanksgiving? I'm not. I'm not going to be. Let me see. I'm off several days, I think. So Thanksgiving is next Thursday. We're not here Friday. Right? Yes, and then I got some days off between the Christmas and the New Year's, too. You turn the music off now, Rick. Turn it off if you want to. All right, now. I want to respond to a comment Not Really a City Girl said. I got to scroll up. Here we go. Not Really a City Girl says, not the brain looking for a woman smarter than him. Now I see why he's single. Sherwin, when you learn her, then you get bored with her, in my opinion. So when I say I want a woman that's smarter than me, she's going to have a core competency or knowledge in something I'm unfamiliar with because I want to be able to learn from her. and I know that everybody can agree to this. Ladies, let me start with you because I know y'all can agree. There is no man who is so handsome and so incredible in bed that you'll tolerate him being a dummy. Nobody wants a dummy. You know how sometimes really pretty people are just dumb? They're just airheads because they never had to learn any common sense because everybody does everything for them because they're so attractive. People are always trying to win the favor of attractive people, and a lot of them are dummies. Nobody wants a dummy. Dummies can be fun for a little bit of time, but then when you realize they have no intellect and they have no core competency, they have nothing that they're really good at, that they're passionate at, those people are boring, and those relationships always have a shelf life. I can't be with a dummy. Y'all know I can't be with no dummy. I'm sorry if I'm offending the dummies. Can't do it. And ladies, you don't want to be with a dumb man either. It's pointless. Like somebody that, if you go to an event, and maybe it's an important event, it's a bunch of important people there, and you go there with your dummy, your little boyfriend, he's just a box of rocks, but he looks good, and you have to walk away for a moment because you want to go say hello to somebody, you want to go get some hors d'oeuvres, and you got to leave your dummy by himself at this event that you're at with your dummy. Christmas party season is the dummies will be on full display. So you go to a networking Christmas party or your office Christmas party and you bring your dummy. But boy, your dummy looks good. And you have to walk away for a moment. When you're with a dummy, you have to worry about what your dummy is going to say in your absence. Here's an example. Ladies, you're at the Christmas party. You bring your dummy with you, your boyfriend. He looks good, but he's dumb. So you go get some hors d'oeuvres. You ain't even gone for that long, and you scared to walk away. You hope that if you just walk away to go get some snacks, get some little cocktail meatballs, or get some hors d'oeuvres, or get some drinks from the bar, you hope that you can be back before someone at the event at the Christmas party comes and talks to your dummy. Because you know what your dummy might say if somebody, maybe your boss, maybe your manager, oh, hey, I see you're here with so-and-so. Oh, what's your name and what do you do? I wanted to join the circus, but I don't know how to do the trapeze. That's the kind of stuff you got to worry about a dummy saying. I can't. Y'all would lose a lot of respect for me if y'all see me out here in the streets with a dummy, or you see me at some fundraiser or some formal event and the person I'm with, even if they look good, if they're a dummy, you'll have less respect for me. Someone that can hold their own in an intellectual conversation, because that's the best part of a relationship, being able to learn from somebody, learn things about yourself, learn things about the world from their perspective. Can't do it. I won't even attempt it. I used to be okay with dummies, and then they don't last because there's no intellect there, right? I want to be challenged. I want to do some challenging. I want to be able to figure out complex problems. Otherwise, there's no partnership. Can't do that. So hopefully that explains that. Nobody want no dummy. And there's no amount of attractiveness that can make up for being empty between the ears. There's always the situation where you had an ex or whatever, and you're with somebody new, and the new person you're with is not nearly as attractive as your ex. Ladies, I know you guys have done this before. You're with a dude, you break up with him, and you see him with a woman who's not nearly as attractive as you, and you're like, ha ha, look at him with that ugly girl. Actually, the ha ha's on you, because she offered something more to him than your looks. Looks don't make up for much. If you're a bad person, if you're rude, if you're disrespectful, if you're inconsiderate, if you're a narcissist, if you're an egomaniac, don't nobody care how good you look. And quite honestly, sometimes real pretty women, ain't worth it a lot of times. Because they try to overcompensate what they lack just by looking real good. Because they get a lot of credit, like women especially. Like a man can be very handsome, but if he's unmotivated, unemployed, and broke, it doesn't matter how good he looks. He'll only be useful for a short period of time. That's why you might see beautiful women with men that aren't even all that attractive, because he may offer so much more. Life experience, maturity, guidance, all of the things. Right? But nobody want no dummy. All right, what's we got here? Felix says, and don't forget Blackout Wednesday lingerie ball. What? Lingerie ball? Y'all know I can't go to something like that. Not Really a City Girl says, I can relate. That's how I already know how you feel about this particular situation. Felix says, when the hunters go hunting and the wives and girlfriends and women come out to party. Oh, Widow's Weekend. Yeah, I got stories about that. They used to do male reviews. They don't do those anymore. You guys remember male reviews where by bars and restaurants? Oh, not restaurants. Bars would have male strippers, and they called a male review. Like they'll feature the first weekend of Widow's Weekend, they'll have male strippers. That used to be like in the 90s, they used to do that. It used to be all over the place. Because apparently, I don't hunt, but I guess a lot of people do. Men that deer hunt, do y'all know what your women do when you're hunting in the woods for a week? Y'all don't, never mind. That's all right. Curly Q says, I saw an ad for Potawatomi with a male review. Yeah, I don't know if they still did that. But yeah, they would feature male strippers because apparently that's what women want to see. Actually, all women got to do is just open up their inbox because apparently men send pictures of their tallywhackers, which is horrible. Men, stop doing that. Ladies don't want to see your tallywhacker. And if she does want to see it, she'll ask you. I don't know why men still do that. All right, what have we learned today? Sometimes whiteness is associated with mediocrity, and rightfully so. Thank you for listening. Jamming with Juice is up next.
Thank you to Associated Bank for being a founding partner of the award-winning